So, Assalamualaikum. This is going to be a third grade class on the water cycle. So our purpose is to show that water is being recycled through a circle, being recycled through a cycle, and that water is used for everything. So we would start with showing kind of the water cycle. Showing that water and going over the keywords. Water evaporates from oceans, lakes, and streams, which is the collection. And then evaporation is seen when the sun heats the water on the Earth's surface, turns into water vapor in our atmosphere. And then warm water vapor rises to the Earth's atmosphere, and as the water rises higher and higher, the cool air in the atmosphere is designed to have the water vapor turn back into liquid water, creating clouds. This process is called condensation. When a cloud becomes full of liquid water, it falls from the sky as it rains or snows, also known as precipitation. Rain or snow then fills the lakes and streams, and the process starts all over again. So when the, copy that twice. And then we would show a video on the water cycle. So we'll just show you a little bit of the video to reinforce those concepts.
Believe it or not, but the water you drink today may actually be millions of years old. This is because the water on Earth has existed since the beginning of time and is constantly moving and changing phases. This happens through a process called the water cycle. Today, we are going to learn all about the water cycle and how it works, so that we can protect our water.
So the video would again reinforce those terms and go over the water cycle. What happened? I will make it bigger. So then we would like any fascinating or facts or kind of like did you knows that clouds weigh about 1.1 million pounds. The water cycle helps regulate the Earth's temperature. Water has been recycled on Earth for 4 billion years. So just a bunch of did you knows and facts about the water cycle or about water.
Okay, so when we compared it to a recycling plant. We felt the two methods are similar to each other. Recycling is a way to take trash and turn it into new products. There are a number of different recycling processes that follow materials to be used more than once. How things are recycled. So the recycling symbol is a loop that has 3 arrows. Each arrow represents a different recycling process. So number 1 is collecting the recyclable materials like paper, aluminum cans, and plastic bottles. Number 2 is taking that material, processing the old materials and making them into new ones. And number 3 is buying items made from the recycled materials. So the similarities between the two is that both water and paper go through the process to make them reusable. Both are useful to humans, but water is useful to all living things. The difference is paper is man-made and then recycled and used again as a new product. Water can be recycled indefinitely, but paper is limited number of times that it can be recycled. The water changes states, but will still continue to be used as water. But paper, when it's recycled, can be used for various different purposes. Paper also, when it's recycled, no longer has the same quality as it did originally, but water quality doesn't change over time. So subhanAllah, the differences between the two, man-made and God created the methods.
Next is the question. So nature, can a recycle facility come together on its own? Can it function by itself? Or can it distribute the recycled material by itself to the areas where it needed by itself? And for the chance, if all the used material were brought together and left on their own without any energy or effort, can they be recycled into a new product? The next one is, what would happen if we didn't recycle? Yes, the connection. All living things need water. The sun is an important part of the water cycle. So in this way we can make the connection with the universe and all the other things. The water from the ocean and the lakes evaporate due to the heat from the sun. And the weather pattern and the earth's temperature are closely connected with the water cycle. The water cycle is an essential part of the cloud, earth, sea, and solar system.
Okay, so we're reflecting on some of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we can see through the water cycle. So I'm going to start with the first one, was al-Muhyi. And maybe think of an example where they've seen something that has, let's say, died and has come back to life. Think of an example. You see it all the time, but you might not realize that you're seeing it.
Plants.
Plants. Excellent. Can you give me an example as how it dies and comes back to life?
Nitrogen cycle.
The nitrogen. I actually want just a regular thing that you see on a regular basis. The seeds. Okay, seeds are also dead. They're technically not alive. With water, they come to life. What about season changes? When the snow comes, everything literally...
Winter.
Exactly. Excellent. Thank you. Right? So when these things died, essentially they've died, and then Allah yuhyi al-ardha ba'da mawtiha, right? That Allah brings back life to the earth after it has died. And we see this through the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, specifically with the water cycle. Okay? When the rain is basically distributed on the earth, you can see everything literally blossoming, coming to life. The next name is Ar-Razzaq. Okay? So water is probably the most essential nutrient that we have on earth. And it's the greatest sign of Allah's rizq, blessings, His nourishment, His sustainment. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is constantly sustaining us, constantly nourishing us through the water cycle. Everything on earth needs water, the plants, the animals, everything that you literally just ate needed water for it to grow and to come into being and for you to be actually able to eat it. And us as well, we need water, we can't survive without it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is constantly providing us with that rizq, and that's something we regularly need. Ar-Rahman. Now the name of Ar-Rahman specifically is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who shows mercy to all of His creation. Okay, everything on earth, regardless of whether you are someone who believes in Allah or not, He continues to bless you, He continues to give you rizq, He continues to provide for you, regardless. Okay, so these are all wonderful attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we can see through the water cycle. Okay, so fikr, so appreciation. Our life is essentially dependent on water in so many ways. We need it for nourishment, we need it for cleanliness, all living things in the world essentially need it. Just imagine on a hot day and you are looking for what? Okay, you're walking outside, extremely hot day, we're looking for water. Dhikr, sometimes we are bothered when it rains or snows, but these are actually blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and through these blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses food and drink to all of His creation. I remember learning this for the first time because I used to personally feel that, oh, it's a rainy day, it's gloomy outside, the snow is annoying, this, that, but when I realized that that's actually a sign of Allah's rizq, His blessing, it's a blessing, it changed my personal perspective. When you see water, you see the usefulness of it. We need it on a daily basis, and Allah is the one that provides us with that water. It's a beautiful gift to meet our essential needs and more. So I want you to think, if I told you right now, in your rooms there will be no water after 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. How would you feel? No. Nothing?
Putting water in bottles.
Water in bottles? Would you be rushing to get water? Would you be worried about anything? Okay, so let's just say it's cut off for 24 hours. What are you going to worry about? Are you going to we usually fill like the tubs and buckets and things because we need water for so many different things. Okay, dua, we've mentioned dua here because it is a form of dhikr, okay? And we are reminded that at the time of rain, it's actually a time for dua, like it's istijaba, time of istijaba. Salah is also a form of dhikr, and the Rasulullah has taught us to offer salat istisqa in times of drought, okay? Which is something I think many of us forget, but it's there. Shukr, sometimes we take water for granted, especially in parts of the world where it's easily available. Especially many of us in this room, we come from areas where the concept of water is easily available. We forget that in other parts of the world, they actually have to travel quite long distances to get that water. It's not easily available to them. Or even just having clean water, which we've also taken for granted. So in seeing that, we need to follow the example of Rasulullah, use water only as necessary to ensure that we are showing our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by not wasting. So by not doing israf, we are actually showing our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are grateful to Him for that. Recognizing that just at the end, Allah is our creator, our sustainer, and we are grateful to Him for everything. Alhamdulillah. Character. So in our own character, how can we work on our own character through this understanding that we have? Okay, so not to waste and to reuse the blessings that Allah has given us. Allah gives us the blessing of water. It's useful to our daily needs. We should also be useful ourselves to all those around us. For example, the environment, plants, animals, and people. If we were to think about our daily use of water and wudu, this is a way that we cleanse on our body on a regular basis. As Muslims especially, it's really important for our tahara. Okay? And water is needed for tahara, which is the next point. Water is pure itself, and this is something that we should also consider, that we should also be pure in our intentions, our actions, and speech. And that's for the Quran. Can I have a volunteer who would be comfortable reading the ayah in Arabic, please? I'm sure there are many people in this room who have no problem doing that.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ألم تر أن الله أنزل من السماء ماء فسلكه ينابيع في الأرض ثم يخرج به زرعا مختلفا ألوانه ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يجعله حطاما إن في ذلك لذكرى لأولي الألباب.
And can I have someone read the ayah in English, please? Before I pick someone. Brother.
Do you not see that Allah sends down rain from the sky, channeling it through streams in the earth, then produces with it crops of various colors? Then they dry up and you see them wither, and then He reduces them to chaff. Surely in this is a reminder for people of reason.
So something to reflect on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us of the signs of in His creation all the time. Something that we should think about. Hadith, this is also a very important reminder to us in our daily life. Abdullah ibn Amr reported that the Messenger of Allah said, he passed by Sa'ad while he was performing ablution. The Prophet said, what is this extravagance? Okay? Sa'ad said, is there extravagance with water and ablution? And the Prophet said, yes, even if you are on the banks of a flowing river. So it's something really powerful to consider, that even if you're at a river where there's tons of water right in front of you, to not be extravagant in the way you make wudu, which is something we do struggle with, when you see the water all over the place, guys, in the bathrooms. This is a reminder if you're actually my students, but you're not. But so it's just something to consider, inshallah, in being careful in our use of water.
So some activities that we would do with our students, you could do the water cycle in a Ziploc bag where you would put a little bit of water and then tape it to the window and kind of see the condensation. Or you could make your own paper with recycled water. So if you're doing an art activity with a lot of scrap construction paper, you could make your own paper by blending it up with water and so forth. Alhamdulillah for everything.
That was the best water cycle lesson ever. Thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so let's have a little discussion so we see in terms of how we can even make it better. Alhamdulillah, I think is a very, very good one, excellent. So there are a few things that I think we can look at to see the room for further improvement. So the very first things, your analogy, so remember everything is around analogy. It's very essential to get an analogy. So your analogy is very good in terms of really telling us that the water cycle is all about recycling, that you take the paper recycling example. But I will encourage you to think even better analogy. The reason I will say think a better analogy because your analogy should be more relevant to the topic. Otherwise, now you have to introduce another topic to them, which they, paper recycling is another subject. But if the subject is water, try to see whether you can use an analogy that is very relevant, like we actually have the water recycling reuse projects, in which, like I know in Singapore, they say 70% of the water at home, and now go through the reuses. They have a certain name for that one. So they basically, clean this water and resend to the home to use it. No, that is the for salt one. When there is a salt, they take it. That's that two things. You can get it. Let's say the salty waters, and you desalinate that. That's one thing. But yeah, the one they do it is actually get this used water in the town and clean and recycle and send it back to them.
Green water recycling.
Huh?
It's called green water.
Yeah, again, I don't know the name. They have a particular name. I think in Europe as well, they start to do that. I heard that like in Paris, they start to do that. I don't know, so there's a lot of discussion on this as well. So again, I think that might give you even, because the thing is that most of the time what I see, if analogy is really not good enough, then the comprehension will not be good enough as well. So most of the time, if you pay attention, if anyone make a presentation for analogy, it doesn't really fit well, that there will be little difficulty. In your case, it's actually good. But I will say if it's water, it will be better. So it's not that your analogy is not good, because you still do the recycling. There are certain elements very similar. But if you bring water, we already know what is happening, how it's happening, so it can make better. That's one thing. The other one is you had it in terms of when you had the questioning one. You can look at that your questioning on actually nature was very good, but the questioning on chance, I wasn't sure really it was something referring to the chance. Because the chance is all about, is this just pure luck that we get it that? So in a way that, so you need to question that in a way that saying, is it like a pure luck that we end up getting this water recycling system that basically sustain the life of living being? The other one, you had it in terms of, you had, I think, fikr, zikr, shukr. Is actually should be dhikr, fikr, shukr. The reason has to be zikr first. Remember, zikr is actually when Quran says, "Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'in al-qulub." Even the ayah you mentioned, it says this is zikr for those who actually believe. So zikr there is not that as people think you just recite something. Zikr is remembering. So what we're remembering that God is the one behind the things. We're remembering that God is the one that actually setting and running the water cycling system. Is not natural, is not happening by itself. We're trying to make a case, you say, we try to see the connection. So dhikr is this remembrance, because they make us to forget it is God doing that. So that's why we need to explicitly state that dhikr is actually to remember this connection, to remember is God behind that. Fikr is reflecting on how he does these great things for us in terms of how, like, what are the amazing things in the water recycling system. Like, can you imagine you're going to get the water there as a dirty water, it's going to go and actually not only be clean, it will be added certain minerals that's good for your health. It will be loaded to the cloud and then carried by the wind. Look, this is a water distribution system. And then it's coming down in a very gentle way in terms of distribution one. So that is, you can point to certain thing within the process that is really amazing. That's the fikr part, that's a reflection. And shukr is basically point to the appreciation. So now we say Alhamdulillah, like how a great, like it's like, look, the watering system that we have in every places. That could be another analogy. You have always, you know, in every city utility company, they provide a system. So you never say the water recycling system, or you say utility, you say the utility company providing that. But this essentially is that how they distribute the water. They don't recycle even, they just distribute, and we pay them a lot of money. So that is basically, again, in terms of analogy as well.
And can I ask a question?
Yes.
Because we thought originally that it was, like, are you talking that that's the order? Because we originally had it that way, but then the slide had it.
Yeah, I think the slide, so it wasn't, the slide had the wrong order.
Yeah, so we went back.
But in our writing is always zikr come first, fikr comes second, shukr come third for good reason.
Yep,
yeah, but
absolutely.
I think Aisha had her slide, I saw that, I noticed it. Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Once you're done, it's okay.
Okay, yeah. I think, what else? In terms of the moral thinking dimension, when you had that one, remember you said do not waste, right? So it would be better to actually drive this directly from the topic study. Why should we learn from the water cycle that we shall not waste? Oh, because the water cycle system is an amazing system in which not a droplet of water is being wasted. That the water is being used again and again and again, that nothing is being wasted. If nothing being wasted, that gives us lesson that we shall not waste as well. So it's really always better to just provide the reasoning and make the connection that you derive this moral or character lessons from the topic study. That's the topic is telling you that wasting is not good, you know. So that's how we can make connection. And finally, the hadith that you convey, it's actually no hadith, right? But why it's the case? Why when you're making wudu, even in the ocean, you shall not waste it? Because it's all about habit. If you actually have this habit of wasting, that is going to be kind of subconscious trait of you, and you're going to be a wasteful person. That's the reason that the hadith, you know, so it's, again, particularly, since in our model we try to really provide good reasoning or good reason behind everything, it will be better to really point to this as well, to say, yes, this hadith says that, but actually, because they're going to think instantly, you know, there is no waste, yani. This is whole ocean, you're going to make wudu, why you should think about it? You're a river, why you should think about it? The point here is that when you make some things an habitual, that you will not even recognize, because it's just become your, you know, it become a trait for you, and you go and repeat it. So that hadith is telling us that, you know, do not be a wasteful person, do not have such habit, then otherwise it will, you know, be, you know, affecting you in another area. Yeah, that's all.
I have this question for you, Dr. Najati. I was thinking that when we look at something, at a phenomenon, let's say water cycle, we first look at it. So this makes us think about it. This is where fikr comes in. And only after contemplating upon this thing that we are discussing, then we can remember Allah. And from there, the remembrance comes. Because if this was not there in the first place, then where would the dhikr come from?
So reflection and then...
Yeah, I think again, you could have different, but I think originally, you know what, we get it from Nursi's first words. That's the references. And Nursi, in the first word, put it in that orders. He put the zikr, fikr, shukr. And the reason he put the zikr, because you always start with zikr, bismillah. So in a bismillah is a zikr, but you say zikr in bismillah in a being aware that this is happening with the power of Allah. So that's, you know, in a way, because we already reached to this level, because we are introducing this in a moral thinking dimension. So we're already actually making the case that God is behind the things. Now we're just remembering that connection, and then going to the fikr and shukr. But again, there could be, but there is, since given the sources we have, because in other books we mention where we get those things, so we kind of think that we can stick with that in this way. And in our writing, actually, I think this is almost all of them we try to really, initially we had such confusion in a way where it should be, but I think now the 7 books that's ready, we're getting ready for publication, so we make sure that we have this order, zikr come first, fikr comes second, shukr comes third. This. Anyone else like this? Good. Anyone else want to, any other comments, questions?
Yeah, there is, but like, it's funny. I think Professor Najati mentioned it.
Jazakallah khair. Good job. Okay, group 6. No, group 4. Group 4.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Is it okay if I stand here? Is that okay? Any objections? Okay. Just because I need everyone paying attention, and this is the group I need to hover over. When do you guys present? After us? Okay, so you can be distracted and other things. Okay, bismillah. So first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here. What we're going to do is we're going to treat you like grade 8 students. Please don't act like grade 8 students, but we are going to treat you like grade 8 students. So we're not going to explain what we're doing, we're just going to do it. So 15-minute lesson. Our topic is forest habitats. And I'm going to actually steal a strategy I learned today from our professor over here. You gave me permission to steal this, right? Just by a show of hands, who here last night looked at the sky? Looked at the sky last night. I was expecting 0 hands, so I'm pretty impressed. Okay. Here's why I asked you that. We're going to spend the next 15 minutes, inshallah, talking about forests. We're going to be talking about what we learned from forests. And I wanted to ask that question because when you look at the sky, how do you feel? Anyone want to just...
Small inspired.
Awe inspired? Okay, any small? Someone said small. Okay.
Fascinated.
Fascinated?
Relaxed.
Relaxed. What you did last night looking at the sky is you reflected, and hence all of these words are coming to surface now. That's the access we have in studying science. You want to study science? Look up. Reflect. How do you feel? Right? So we're going to take ourselves on a journey, inshallah, to talk about forest habitats. My first question for you is what comes to mind when I say the word forest habitat? Anything. What comes to mind?
Trees.
Trees.
Soil. Living environment. Reptiles.
Birds, right?
Insects. Forest.
Insects. Reptiles.
Deer. Forest.
Deer.
Forest.
Rain.
Jungle.
Forest. Rain. You said rain? Rain.
Jungles.
Bears. Jungles. Someone said jungles?
Yeah.
What else? That's 9. Let's take one more.
Amazon.
Amazon. Okay. And we can keep going. We can keep going and going and going. The beautiful thing about a forest habitat, and the reason, inshallah, you're going to have a little bit of fun in the next 13 minutes or whatnot, is that a forest habitat is a place where a diverse set of animals and other living things live together in a big area filled with trees, plants, and vegetation. So everything you said when it came to what comes to mind falls under this. Animals were mentioned, rain was mentioned, right? Trees were mentioned, and so on and so forth. So it's a huge area that encompasses all of what you see on the screen, inshallah. I'm going to now hand it off to Brother Austin.
So, as Brother Asad has already talked about the forest and what we can find in the forest, we're going to look at that how we can relate this thing with our analogy. First of all, in forest we can find different layers. The canopy, and then we have the middle layer, and then the base vegetation that is going to form the front part of the whole forest. This is it. So the forest floor, and then there are emerging layers also which are continuously forming and making forest life. We are going to compare this with a cityscape And we had this one.
Yeah, we added a fun fact.
Okay. So this is a fun fact, and I didn't know that we put it here, but Amazon rainforest produces about 20% of the world's oxygen. So this we'll be talking about in later stage, inshallah. Right now, I'll just move on to, there's a video here. We're not going to show you this video. It's a very long video, but it talks about the forest life.
Adjust it.
And here, so forest habitat is just like a bustling city. So as we see in a cityscape, we are sitting in Istanbul. So we see the skyscrapers also, we can see behind in this photograph. We have normal few-story houses, maybe some villas also, and some slum areas as well. And then the whole system, we can compare this with the trees. They represent the towering trees. The towering trees in the forest, as we talked about the Amazon forest also. So they resemble the skyscrapers, then the various plants forming the streets and the animals, different neighborhoods. There are different types of animals, they are interacting with each other, and in a cityscape also, we find different type of people. They are interacting with each other, and by the way, we do have animals in the cities as well. Almost all the things that we have there, we do have in the city life also. And all of these things are interconnected. As are in the forest, we have all these things interconnected. Now we come to the similarities between the two. So diversity. Now in a city, in a marketplace, we have vendors. They're selling different products. Same is the case in a forest habitat, which has a variety of plants and animal species, and they are playing their role in that ecosystem, as are various people playing their role in a cityscape. Then interactions. So in both of these settings, what we see is that buyers and sellers, they are exchanging goods, whereas when we go to a forest habitat, there are species interacting through predation, symbiosis, and competition. So that's, and by the way, that competition is here in the cityscape also, and I think that's a very tough thing, by the way. So there are some niche specializations also. So they have, both of them, stalls. Let's say if we talk about the city, a marketplace. So they offer specific products, different products, and they can range from bread to a computer, or I don't know, some other technological things. Whereas in a forest habitat, we have various species that occupy distinct ecological roles. So balance. Both systems, they have to maintain the balance. So in a marketplace, supply and demand is the basic thing that maintains the balance. Whereas in a forest habitat, predator-prey relationships and the nutrient cycle that maintains the balance, the equilibrium in the system. We move on to the differences. So, the main purpose, ecological balance, supporting the life cycle of its inhabitants, and of course contributing to planet's health. So that's what a forest environment does. Whereas a marketplace serves as economic and social functions that actually controls the whole system. Time scale. Now that's an important part here. Now forest has this thing that over centuries the forest life and whatever is there, it develops. whatever it is, it starts from the tree or different species interacting with each other, their growth, their population, the plant, you can say diversity as well. That's what happens in forests over centuries. But whereas when we come to the marketplace, it's about economic and social things. They can vary very rapidly. Again, we are sitting in Istanbul, and we can see that how the economic activity changes with the devaluation of Turkish lira. And so is in Pakistan also, the rupee. So the main difference, however, that lies in the origin, purpose, and adaptation mechanism, and of course, time. Time is the main factor. In a city landscape, we are talking about things change in a very short time also, but in a forest landscape, it takes years to develop and years to reach that place. It's over to you, Mustafa. Thank you.
Okay. When we look at this topic, what would you say? What would you say are the for and against of the comparison between the city skyline and the marketplace, and against the forest? What would you say are the pros and the cons? Anybody?
Do you mean like similarities, differences, or pros and cons?
Pros and cons. For and against. What's the beautiful thing about the forest, and what's the beautiful thing about the city? And what's the thing that is not so cool about the city, and what's not so cool about the forest?
It has facilities.
City has facilities. Okay. Pollution. Hold that word. What about pollution?
It's dirty. The city is polluted and the forest actually makes the weather clean.
So when you're looking at pollution, you are looking at diverse forms of pollution.
There's noise pollution, there's air pollution.
Yes, that's a similarity, but in their form, in their integrated form, in the city, you probably may get noise pollution, water pollution, air pollution. But in the forest, what kind of pollution do you get in the forest? Do we get any kind of pollution that affects the ecosystem in the forest?
Human.
In the forest? Okay. So you've answered the question. Basically we've answered the question that in the forest, what you have is everything has what it needs to survive. And there's no waste, as the last group mentioned. Just like in the water cycle, there's no waste. In the ecosystem, animals don't just see another animal. You look delicious and eat the leg and leave the rest of the body.
I was going to say that in the city you got to pay money to live there.
Exactly.
In the forest,
the animals don't pay for it.
They don't pay for it.
Thank you. This is a round of applause for you.
It's the price of houses, that's why, yeah.
So, if we're going to look at this critically, what questions come to mind based on where we started, what we just been saying? What questions can we look at from here? What questions does this bring to our mind with regard to the things, what we said were the pros and the cons of this, comparing these two concepts?
For the city, you need someone to build the buildings.
For the city, you need someone to build the buildings, yes. As against the forest, you need somebody to build a forest. Trees line up all there. The animals, this is your habitat. You live here. Lion live here. The monkey live there. The antelope live there. Is that what happens in the forest? But in the city, you have people called town planners who set out where the blocks are going to be block of flats, where the lanes are going to be, the pathways, and where the traffic lights, where the market stalls are going to be, and all that. In the forest, you don't have someone sitting on where the streams, where the streams are supposed to be, and how they are supposed to be, and who's supposed to drink from the streams, and so on and so forth. And who tells the trees the amount of oxygen each tree? You produce 10% of the oxygen needed by this forest. You 5%. Who tells the trees what percentage of oxygen to produce? Or the amount of carbon dioxide to hold each tree? What amount of carbon dioxide are you going to hold in each tree? Who does that? Whereas in the city, you may say, so you may, if that is the context, what happens if this forest did not, if this forest did not exist, if our forest did not exist, what do you think this world would be like? What do we think this world would be like if our forests do not exist? That's a very important question.
Yeah, based on the fact you mentioned that it gives 20% of oxygen, then we'll all be having oxygen.
This is just the Amazon forest. Just one forest gives 20%. What about the other forests? So that tells you how scary this is for us. What other questions comes to mind?
Anything happens to it.
Who is the one telling the forest to provide protection for animals?
Brother, can I ask,
Yes.
what step are you on? Which step is this?
It's critical thinking.
Critical thinking, okay.
Yes. Okay.
So, you only have 3 minutes left.
All right. So when we see how the amount of planning and design that goes into building a city, urban development, and how someone has to think, groups of people must work together to landscape, plan, plumbing, drainage, sewage system, and all that. If somebody did not plan that, somebody planned all that knowledge, will, and power, what about the forest and the vegetation, the canopy it provides, the protection, the streams, the water controlling of water cycle that this forest provides? Is it possible that this could have come by itself, by chance or by law? Is it possible? When you compare what happens in the landscape, in the urban, in the marketplace, and all that, if somebody did not plan, if somebody planned that, how more a forest with diverse forms of communities and plants and animals and structure and and the benefit it provides? Next slide. So when we look at all this, we see that the forest does a lot for mankind in terms of supply of oxygen. It gives us oxygen. There's a relationship between human being and the environment that if we are not careful, we will destroy the planet. So not only does it give protection to the plants and animals, it also holds on carbon dioxide. We know global warming. The reason why we're having a lot of global warming now is because trees are being destroyed. Trees store carbon dioxide. They help us in reducing the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. So that is a way in which it provides benefit for us. It also ensures that there's continuation of life by providing food. There's a safe place for them. The way a house in the city provides a safe place for everybody, hospitals, a place where you can go and get treated, and a marketplace where you go and buy food and things. So it's similar to what happens in a forest, where animals are provided with food, water, shelter, and protection, among other things.
Okay, I know we're short on time, but we'll finish up here. After hearing that explanation, what names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come to mind when thinking about the forest habitat? What name? Say that again? Sorry?
Almighty, He is capable of doing all this stuff.
Okay. Anything else?
The cleaner.
The cleaner, okay. Hakim. Hakim. Qudus. Razak. There's so many. There's so, and we can, you know, subhanAllah, one time I remember doing an exercise like this, and the students actually had the 99 names on their screen. And they were like, yeah, that. We came up with Al-Khalaq, right? Or Al-Khaliq, right? The creator. Al-Musawwir, right? The fashioner. Al-Razaq, the provider. And Al-Muqim, the sustainer, right? Thank you.
So, I'm back again. So, the advantage is the diverse forms of plants and animals that we find in the forest, which work together for their mutual benefit. Something like symbiosis, like you said. There's a cooperation, mutual. There's a system in place. There's a balance. They provide balance for each other. We mentioned the issue of the release of oxygen, the amount of oxygen plants and plants produce. We animals give out carbon dioxide. Human beings and animals give out carbon. We contribute to the pollution, but the plants are there to ensure that the carbon cycle does not exceed what it's supposed to be. Then there's, of course, there's protection for the soil, because roots find a way to hold on this, make the soil very, very firm. And so when the forest, it helps protect against erosion, different forms of erosion, which we know is a form of natural disaster, mudslides and other things that we have in various parts of the world. Of course, then the water cycle, it ensures that the water cycle is maintained by ensuring there's no waste of water, that it's recycled and life continues in those forms. And I think basically, and so when we look at what the various forms of life in the forest provides, that it's so diverse. So we look at the lesson for human beings, that we also, there's a diverse form of human beings from different tribes and races and colors and tribes and tongues and so many things. I think it's important that we support each other, because that's what happens in the forest. They support. The animals and the plants support each other. And so for us, as a people, we need to emulate what the system we see in the forest, where we need to support each other and cooperate towards the cause of general good for humanity.
So before moving on to this ayah, I would quickly like to go through the zikr, fikr and shukr phase. And for that, we were relating it with that, as we've talked about, that forest, one of the major things that forest does is provide us oxygen. And oxygen is the main source of life. Without oxygen, we won't be able to survive here. So we took an example from my city, from Lahore. Now, from October onwards till the end of November or December, we became the most polluted city, unfortunately, on earth. We become the number one. We may be number one right now also, but that's when you actually cannot breathe. And that is where we thought to link this whole thing, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this system, the ecosystem. It's so balanced. And man actually, through its whatever we are designing, we are destroying it. One of the main factors, we see it there. And when we link that with this creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we see is that when we're going through that phase of difficulty, thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and knowing about His power to how to maintain the whole thing, the whole balance, and then waiting for the wind to blow, waiting for the rain to come down, to wipe all that thing off, and it goes away just in maybe an hour or 2 hours rain or a strong wind blowing, and the whole thing is plain. So that is where we take about the fikr thing, and then it comes to the shukr part when it's done with. So we are really able to, in our life, see and feel and go through the shukr phase, that alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent the rain or sent the wind to take that thing away from us. Coming to this ayah, since the time is short, I'll just come to the gist of it, and that is that through this ayah, what we try to relate is that one of the biggest challenges that we face today, that is our lives, we are extravagant. We are extravagant in everything. And the forest and this natural life that tells us about that balance, keeping the balance. Nobody, even when we take the examples of animals, if a lion is hungry, it's not going to take more. We, in our life, that extravagance is everywhere. We like to spend more, we like to show off, we like to get more. So that's where we would like to link this thing with that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us to keep the balance, not be extravagant, and be thankful to Him. Thank you very much. Jazakallah.
Okay, thank you very much. So the few points I want to share really. First and foremost, it seems like the team really enjoyed the food a lot. So it was very clear when they're presenting that really you can feel they're still enjoying. So when they cooked, they like it, and you can see the enthusiasm. I think that's really exemplary. We need to make sure that we first, we enjoy what we do, and then the others can have desire for that as well. When I look at your analogy, actually, I was really curious how you could really convince, let's say, me as an audience to see there is such connection. But I think given the grade level and given the case that you make it, I would say it worked very well in this regard. But for low grade level, I'm not sure how much it could work, but for high grade level, I think that's the analogy could work in this regard. So, and one thing that you emphasize, so it was good that when you're comparing the two in the differences in the basically analogical thinking, so your conclusion was forest is perfect. So I think we should not be shy to say that, because Quran explicitly speaks on that one. It says in Surah Al-Mulk, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, مَا تَرَى فِي خَلْقِ الرَّحْمَنِ مِنْ تَفَاوُتٍ. You will not see any fault, imperfection in the creation of Allah. And Quran then challenge us. It says that فَرْجِعِ الْبَصَرَ هَلْ تَرَى مِنْ فُتُورٍ ثُمَّ ارْجِعِ الْبَصَرَ كَرَّتَيْنِ يَنْقَلِبْ إِلَيْكَ بَصَرُ خَاسِيًا وَهُوَ حَسِيرٌ. So it says that look at the creation. Will you see any fault? Look again and again. Your eyes will come back to you with complete despair of not finding anything. That is a very explicit ayah in Quran saying God's creation is absolutely perfect. Whenever there is imperfection, and that is for perfect reason. So when we say perfect, we're not saying that like everything, like when Kepler first, and you look at this, the orbit, and he was expecting it has to be perfect circle, but he find out that it wasn't a perfect, but it turned out to be not being perfect circle, it was a perfect for the good reason. Okay, so for that reason, I think your emphasis was there. So we should not be shy to make that if we have a good knowledge to show that God's creation is indeed perfect. And the other things in your presentation attract my attention. So you try to really build almost all of your dimension based on your analogy. So I saw your analogy was coming again and again. You're referring to that, which is actually was very good use of analogy. Because again, remember that we use analogy as the basis for comprehension. So therefore, I think the use of analogy as much as possible will make it better. I think you use it quite a lot. And also at the very end, very last things, when he talks about the moral lesson, diversity was very good. But your emphasis on ayah as well, to link everything to the israf, and then to attract attention to that part of ayah and to say the source of the problem because we are musrifun and Allah doesn't like them, I think that is very strong, compelling moral case in this regard. Thank you very much.
I agree with everything Dr. Najati said, and I'm going to add just one thing, just the practical aspect of it, that just to be very clear when you're transitioning through the different steps, it's very important that it's clear, because I had to ask you, where are you? I couldn't understand where you were. It's important to mention it and say it. And we found this in our pilot study, that the children were not, in some of the grades, were not understanding what's the purpose of what are we doing. They were like, we're getting confused. And then I did a demo lesson for the teacher, and when I just mentioned in the first step and the second step, she just went, oh, this is the problem. I didn't say it. So because we know the method, we know what we're doing, but a child is not going to pick it up straight away. So just for everyone, it's something very important. You have to mention that you're transitioning through the steps. Okay? Jazakallah khair.
Thank you.
Okay, group 1.
Thank you very much, Asad. This is a technique we use in Canada to kind of get the students' attention. And I forgot I was with a worldwide audience right now, but this usually makes them stop and they know that the lesson is about to start. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
So our topic is plants, and we have catered it to grade 1 students. And because it's such a vast topic, and we want to focus in with 6-year-olds, we're doing parts of a plant as our topic, under the 5D model, of course, and we've called this Discover My Plant Parts. So we're going to start with Explore, and we chose to start with fascinating facts. Raise your hand if you like to eat strawberries. I'm part of that too. Strawberry is actually my favorite fruit. But did you know that strawberry is the only fruit that has seeds on the outside rather than on the inside? And it actually has an average of about 200 seeds. And subhanAllah, when we were researching this and we actually had fruits and strawberries, I was amazed while I was eating it to actually see that, subhanAllah, there's so many seeds outside the strawberry. It actually changed my whole perception of my favorite fruit, alhamdulillah. Did you know that plants can be used as natural dyes? So if you wanted to, for example, dye clothing or a cloth, you could actually use tea bags or walnut juice, which comes from plants. Did you know that around 70,000 plant species are being utilized all over the world for medicine? So when you're feeling sick and you take medicine to help you feel better, around 70,000 plant species are used for medicines. Just think about that number. I'm going to say it again for emphasis, 70,000. Did you know that about 600 species of plants eat small animals and insects too? Who's scared of insects? Okay, few people. There are actually plants that eat small insects. So think about that the next time you see a spider or you see a creepy crawly in the room. And just one more, although there are so many, subhanAllah, fascinating facts here. But did you know that we as human beings use more than 2,000 different types of plants to create various delicious food items? I know we just had lunch, we're talking about food and meals. But 2,000 different types of plants to create various food items and meals that we enjoy. Just think about the lunch that we just had. And what did we enjoy, alhamdulillah, for lunch? And where did that food come from? A lot of that food actually came from plants. And so these are some fascinating facts that are going to lead up to our study in the parts of plants, inshallah. And just as a side note, this is not part of our lesson plan, but I think one of the biggest realizations that I had doing this 5D model is that when we're teaching our children, the sense of awe and the sense of subhanAllah is actually taken out of the equation. That's like my biggest, I think, takeaway up to this point. That when I go back and I teach and I teach my teachers how to teach, we're just imparting information without having the students say subhanallah. That's my, I think biggest takeaway, like I said. So I'm going to pass it on to the next part.
Okay. So now we're talking about plants, and you all have your pens and papers. Can you please draw a small plant? You're not supposed to see this, no? No. A plant, any plant, a flower, anything you like. Well, I can see some creative drawings here. Suzanne. Okay. So I hope you got something like this. If you look at it, before even seeing the parts that are labeled here, how many parts would you divide the drawing you have there? Just like us as humans, we have parts. How many parts would you divide the drawing you did? Answers, hands. 4, great. Who said 4? Can you label them on... you didn't?
I should label.
You can label them.
Like the stem.
So let's look here. We have the stem, yes.
The soil.
So you have prior knowledge, it seems. The plant is in the soil, you're right. There is something coming out of the soil, things that are attached to it, and on top you have a colorful flower, right? So let's look at each and every part of these, give it a name, and see its importance. We'll start from below the soil. If you try to pull out a flower or any plant from the soil, would it be easy? Easy? Is there any resistance there when you're pulling it? Yes. Okay, let's try this all together. I want you to cross your fingers as such. Try to move your fingers out. Is there any resistance? Yes. Yeah, great. Okay, now do a fist and try it again. Which is easier?
This one.
This one, right? So these are what we call roots. And the roots, they have very important role for our plant. Actually, we're discussing 2 here. One of them is to hold the plant in its place. Another role is to take in the water and nutrients from the soil, which are needed for the plant to grow. We'll get to this later. Okay, now we took these water and nutrients. Where do you think we should take them? When you take the, let's say, the food that we need to eat, where do we take it to cook it? To the kitchen, excellent. Now for our plant, it has its own kitchen. Where do you think it is found?
In the soil.
In the soil, why? The kitchen in the soil? Type. Follow with me. Now when your mom wants to cook you food, what does she need for the food to be ripe and you eat it?
Warm.
Heat, excellent. Here, where we get it from?
Sunlight.
From sunlight. So the kitchen must be above the ground to get sunlight. And the kitchen for the plant is in the leaves, okay? Leaves, the role of the leaves, it's the kitchen for the plant. It cooks food, use sunlight, and the other component that is the water and mineral from the soil. How can I transfer this water and minerals to the leaf to start cooking? It needs a road, right? It needs somewhere to go through, and this here will come the role of our stem. The stem, it's like a straw. It sucks in, or it transfers the water and minerals to our leaves, where everything is happening there. And the last part with us today is the very beautiful part that you see in front of you here, which is the flower part of our plant. Flower, surprisingly, it is responsible for making the seeds to start a new cycle again. Now I will continue with the comparison, how we related this to, there is a small video also for you to see. We'll not watch it all.
So I'll just let you. So plants, they are found everywhere, all around us in fields, on mountains, and where you play, everywhere on the street. Plus, they are part of the food that we eat. They are. They have nice smell. They are food for animals. They are for decoration, for our clothes. So there are many uses for the plants. I will stop this here and continue with our analogy. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, students. If you ever get a chance, to which flower would you like to give your mother? The real one or the artificial one? Why do? Artificial one can stay much longer than the real one. Even though, why do you like to give the real one?
The real one has nice smell.
Nice smell. What else?
But even artificial one, you can spray some spray. It's not the same.
Anything? Texture. Good. What else that is going to attract you the most in the real flower? Definitely you are going to give it to your mother. Texture. To whom you love most? Texture, beauty. Okay. So same is the case with the bees. Can we make honey from these artificial flowers? Are these artificial flowers going to attract the honeybees?
No.
Which thing is missing from them? Even though they are looking very attractive? Nectar is not there. Okay. I observed last time you people were going to your art room and you were making flowers there. So how would you find them while doing that work? Did you enjoy that? So you have used multiple resources there. Paper, glues, stacks. So these resources, while you were using, you were cutting, you were throwing different material. So same is the case with the artificial flower. When we are going to make them, we are going to use so much resource. We are going to use different materials that we have to get from the different persons. Manpower is being used, money, time, efforts, everything is being used by us. But in the case of real flowers, this is not going to happen. Same, real flowers, when they are going to die, they are going to change into the fertilizer. But artificial flowers, they are going to pollute your earth. So, nothing can replace real flower. Now we can look on the questions. Are artificial plants made by themselves? Is it possible? No. You are going to put plastic here, straws here, glues here, and after 5 minutes, can you have that flowers with you? You are not going to work on them. So what about the real flowers? Are they automatically? Or is there someone who is creating them? Who is making them? Who is designing them? Who is adding colors, smells, shapes? How do humans make artificial flowers? We have discussed so much resource, time we need. How did they learn to do this? Can artificial plants produce oxygen? Can we eat them? Can we eat artificial plants? No. Can we get oxygen from them? So there must be someone who is giving all these things free of cost. We are not making any effort for these things. Can different materials from artificial plants on their own? Do artificial flowers come together on their own? How does a seed know how to grow? We are just going to sow a seed. How does it know it turns into a strawberry plant, banana tree? What else? Does it happen by chance or luck? Is it a coincidence that the plant grows and has roots, stems, and leaves? Is it by chance that plants have leaves to produce food? Means there must be someone. There is a creator to whom we need to look at, to whom we need to ask.
So if you just pay attention just for 2 minutes, you'll see how the artificial plants are being made in a factory. There's quite a few processes. Glue, plastic. And lots of different people. There's a conveyor belt of people doing different tasks. So obviously we would play this to the end with the children, but just for time, we'll stop it now. It's not switched off. I think it's not switched off. Okay. So we've come to the conclusion that in order to connect the children.
Can we have attention, please? Hello, everyone. Can we have attention?
At the connect stage, we can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the planner, the builder, and the designer. He's the musawwir, he's al-khaliq, he's al-bari, he's al-nafi'. And we can see that through the name al-musawwir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a shaper of unique beauty. Everything in the heavens and the earth is a sign of His beauty. And again, if you're in a classroom, you would take children outside, we'd look at the sky, especially if they're very young children. This is year 1. And we could obviously adapt this for younger children as well. Allah is Al-Khaliq. He produces something from nothing. He creates and does so on an unimaginable scale. So we can show them the park with all the different blades of grass, so many different trees, so many different flowers. Can we count them? We can't. SubhanAllah. He creates from nothingness, whereas we are merely trying to transform material from one form to another. We are limited in what we can make, whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unbounded. Al-Bari, the producer, He initiates and brings into existence. He says, be, and it is. SubhanAllah. And this is very, very important for us, because we can't say to the glue and the plastic and the sticks, be, and they are. No, this is only allowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only the power is by Allah alone. And Nafi', the creator of good, the one who grants success and creates favorable outcomes. The greatest gift given to mankind is their intellect, conscience, and faith. And it's something that, obviously we want children to grasp in Allah Ta'ala. In the appreciate section, dhikr, what if we didn't have plants? We say, Alhamdulillah, we have plants provided to us with oxygen and nutrients of all kinds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a variety of fruits, vegetables, and herbs in the form of medicinal cures, all from the same soil. How great a creator He is, subhanAllah. And then we reflect, fikr, what would happen if we took plants out of the food chain? Indeed, we see how animals eat plants and then distribute them wherever they migrate in their stools. In this are signs for us to reflect on the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in how the earth will keep regenerating itself by the hukm of Allah. And then we're at the phase of shukr. What if we only have one type or color of plant? SubhanAllah, the variety and types of plants are numerous, and this provides us with so many beautiful varieties to look at, and which are pleasing to the eye, pleasant to smell, different colors, sizes, fragrances, etc., with so many types of fruits to eat. For this we are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the character lessons are that through these names of Allah, we learn diversity, and so that we compare ourselves to the plants, and we can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in many different kinds of shapes, colors, and sizes, and we're all unique, and He created us from a single pair of a male and female, and that we may know one another. So it diminishes this sort of nationalism and the fact that they're looking at difference, rather we're unified. Generosity. Just as plants give us food, we should also be generous to others. We can show generosity to our guests, to our neighbours, and they have rights over us. And you can explore that more in an integrated curriculum. Humility, reflecting on the signs of Allah and the sheer variety of plants on the earth, and know that there is a Rabb who helps us understand to grow from stage to stage. And then we have ayat. In Surah Al-Hashr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He is Allah, the creator, the inventor, the fashioner. To Him belong the best names. Whatever is in the heavens and the earth is exalting Him, and He is exalted in might, the wise. And Surah Nahl, and from the fruits of the palm trees and grapevines, you take intoxicants and good provision. Indeed, in that is a sign for a people who reason. And we found a beautiful hadith which us sisters will be happy to hear about. This is Abu Hurairah reported Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying, He who is presented with a flower should not reject it, for it is light to carry and pleasant in odour.
So what we were going to do is we were going to spray rose water, but we lost the rose water bottle. So, I'm going to spray this. It may not smell like a flower, but I think that's probably better for us because nothing that is created in a bottle or is inside a bottle, produced in a factory somewhere, can actually smell like the real thing. Right? And that's why all of us said to give our mother, we would prefer to give her a real rose, right? So I'm just going to spray it on this side of the...
That's fine. And so the idea is so that we're getting children to remember this lesson, to use all their senses, yeah, inshallah. And finally, if a Muslim plants a tree or sows a seed, and then a bird, human or animal eats from it, then it is regarded as a charitable gift, and this is from Hadith Bukhari. Finally, we would end the session with this beautiful nasheed for children.
Where you came from, who is the Lord of all creation? The little fish said, that's my Lord.
We all know this book. I expect you to sing along, ladies and gentlemen. The whole point of it is that it's an interactive, creative session. We're getting children to join in, and it comes alive, inshallah. It's 5D after all, it needs to come alive, not just 3D. Jazakallahu khairan. Sorry for the extended length of time, I know we went over. We've been timing ourselves.
MashaAllah, that was amazing. This is what we need from you guys to show how it's going to be done in the classroom. This is exactly what we need, and alhamdulillah, seen a lot of creativity, productivity, designivity, discovery, designivity, innovation. Okay. Do you want to feedback on any of it?
Yeah, I think so overall, mashallah, it was really, really good. The three things I want to just briefly mention. So there was some word smells quite secular. Yeah. So really, it's at the beginning, particularly for analytical thinking part. So it's really it's better to really remove them. Like there was a phrase saying, to create foods. Humans talk about how you create foods out of them. The word creation should be only used for Allah, I think. It's because the Quran says very clearly the one who creates is not same with the one who cannot create. So therefore, I think it's really, we be careful, we don't use creativity, we don't create, that's Allah creates only. That's really, I think is a very, very important one. And also, concept of natural was mentioned as well. So I think natural, though, we might think that we cannot find a word, but I really think it would be better to find some things, because nature is indeed a god of a secular, ideology. So we want to, whenever they say natural, essentially they are attributing to the nature. So that's the problem. But by natural, what you mean it's not really man-made. But it's really, I think it's the way it's utilized and is understood by general public. I see is therefore, we mentioned before as well, this was the things. And the other one, I think is when, the sister was presenting and were amazed with the topic. So that part really is essential to present with amazement. But guess what? In reality, the question here, is there anything that's not amazing actually? So there is absolutely nothing in the universe which is not amazing. If you are not amazed, either you are ignorant, you don't know, therefore you think it's an ordinary, or you are in ghafla, like a sleeping, you're not aware. So either there's a problem of awareness, or there's a problem of ignorance. Otherwise, absolutely everything are amazing and miraculous. So, and that part is very essential, and that's one thing we try to do really. We try to wipe up the dust over these miraculous works of God and really bring their attention to say, look, it's not the iPhone, it's not the airplane, it's not the robot, it is really God made things that are truly amazing as you study. So I think I saw that you had, you know, some kind of excitement on that part is very proper. And I think that in all subjects we should try to really do that. Yeah, that's what I have it on my notes.
Okay, so students, today, this lesson, by the way, is for grade 2 students, okay? Today we're going to apply the 5-step thinking, and you will explore the world of fish and their parts. You will develop an understanding of different parts of the fish and their roles. And
Sister, speak up, please. Can you speak into the mic or speak up?
And we will explore together the environment and surrounding of fish. Okay.
Just do it.
Now we'll have 5 stages to learn all about Finding Nemo, the way. So let's start with the first stage, that's let's explore.
So what I want you to do, kids, what I want you to do for me, kids, I want you to draw a fish. Can you draw a fish for me?
Yes.
Okay, so after they see the video, which talks about the fish and the different kinds of the fish and where the fish live and the different environments and what the fish has, and they have fins and they have things. So it's a nice video that. Okay, so what I want you to do for me now is just describe your drawing.
Ugly.
Tell me about your drawing.
It's embarrassing.
So we'll ask, and remember again, those are grade 2s, right? So they will be expressive in how, oh, my fish is big, oh, it's colorful, oh, so this is what we want to be doing. What are some characteristics of your fish? It has eyes. It has a mouth.
Has fins.
It has fins, yes.
It's gold.
Good, 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 very good. Where does the fish live? Where does the fish live, guys? In water. Different types of water? Yes? In the sea, yes. Where else does it live?
In my fish tank.
Yes. Do you have a fish at home?
Fish tank.
Oh, that's so nice. Do you like your fish?
I love my fish.
Oh, that's good. That's
In
good
my
to
head.
hear.
I love mine cooked. In my head. On my plate.
Okay. So what are some of the parts of the fish?
Eyes.
The eyes.
Mouth. The fin.
Okay.
The meat.
The tail.
The meat. It has bones. Does it have bones?
Yes.
Yes, when we eat the fish, it has bones, right? We always, what do we do with the bones? Do we eat it?
No, we take them out.
No, we take it out and we throw it out. Good. What happens if we eat a bone? We don't want to eat a bone, right? Okay.
Okay, guys, you're on the first step and you've had 10 minutes. Hurry up, hurry up.
But you have to give us grace for that problem that happened with the video. Okay.
Speed up.
How many types of fish are there? So we'll get. There are a lot. Yes, there are lots of types of fish, and they look different, as we see in the picture. Okay, so fish is a source of food. You guys like fish? Anyone like fish? Yes, it's tasty, so it's a source of food.
It's a nutritious one.
So what is your favorite kind of fish? So we'll ask those questions. I know we don't have time right now. So we eat fish because it's good, and sometimes because it's healthy, right? And where does the fish live? Does it live on its own? No, it lives in the sea. So the fish has family. Good. And maybe the fish has friends, right? So the fish lives in a community. Very good. So fish is beautiful even at your home as a pet. As we said, Mona has a pet at home. She has a fish at home. Anyone else has a fish at home? No? Okay. But you see fish also when you go to restaurants, right?
In your freezer.
In your freezer. Ooh. Okay, so what I want you to do is, hold your picture up and let's swim together like a train.
Yeah,
so everyone will hold their fish and then you will come behind me and we'll be moving around like swimming. What do you see? Look around. Look at the different fishes that your friends drew. Yeah, they look different. They are nice. They are beautiful. They come in different sizes, shapes, and colors, right? Now let's explore. Put on your virtual glasses and let's dive together. Did you know that there are over 30,000 species of fish? Yeah? Fish breathe through their gills. Most fish don't have eyelids. Fish are cold-blooded. Scales help fish to swim. Fish are vertebrate animals. Fish are speedy. Fish talk to each other. Did you know that fish talk to each other? Oh, some of you did. Oh, that's good. Like Nemo, right? Very good.
Now, you have learned about the fascinating facts, and you have learned some, you know the parts of the fish now. Okay, let's go to the next stage, that is compare. If I ask you to draw a submarine right on the same page where you have drawn the fish, can you do it for me? There is a sample over there, so you can take the help. On the same page, you have to draw a submarine.
Teacher, my submarine looks like a fish.
Yes, isn't it amazing?
Yeah. Good activity, well done.
Did I skip it?
No.
Is it done? Yes. Okay, let's count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Thumbs up. Right. So now I want you to just look at your right or left, make a pair, and then we'll share this activity and share your thoughts. This activity is called Think, Pair, Share. And I want you to talk to each other about what do you notice about the fish and the submarine. What are the similar things and what are the differences? Can you please have 5 minutes or 2 minutes? No? 2 seconds.
So answer the questions.
So we can just quickly wrap it up so we can just get the answers. What do you notice? What are the similarities between a submarine and a fish? Both can swim.
Similar shapes.
Similar shapes. What are the similarities and different? This we know. So does the fish grow?
Yes.
The fish is a living thing. Submarine is not.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. And who makes it grow? But what is the thing that how it grows?
It eats.
It eats. Nice. Very good point.
Submarine might be corrupted.
But have you seen a submarine growing?
No.
But it takes fuel as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't grow.
Doesn't grow.
Doesn't grow. So what do you need in order to build a submarine? Engineers. You need will, you need power, you need knowledge. Engineers. But what about a fish? Come itself? We just wander.
Okay, so let's wonder together then. Do you ever wonder if the submarine comes together by itself? Does it? It can't, right? It needs engineers, it needs a factory, it needs, right? It needs a lot of things. It needs fuel. Very good. Now, how about a fish?
Comes from its we don't have any control in doing
Yeah, it comes, we just find fish, right? We don't know how it come from, right? We just find fish, okay. So, if materials used to make submarines magically assemble into a submarines, does it? Have you ever wondered if it does?
Not possible.
That would be weird, right? Magically comes together? No. Well, how about the fish? Do you ever wonder if the fish swims by itself? Do you ever wonder that? Yeah?
Who mentioned
Does
the
it?
food? That the food makes the fish grow. Someone mentioned.
Yes.
The food. Does the food make the fish grow?
Is it the food?
The food?
No.
Is it only the food?
Because the food has the ability and will to make the fish
Through the
grow.
through the food that Allah gives it, it grows.
Ah, good, good. Through the food. Excellent. Good student. Okay? So, how does a submarine interact with its surrounding? Anyone know? How does a submarine interact with the other submarines in the sea? Do they send maybe messages? They talk with each other? Yes, signals. How about the fish? Yeah? Is it by chance that fish interact with their surroundings? Or is there a power that make them interact with each other? Something above all of us, right? How does a submarine navigate its way under the sea? What does it have?
Google Maps.
What does it have?
Captain.
Maybe a captain, yes. Navigation.
Has to be powered.
Has to be powered, yes. Now, is it by chance that fish know their way around as well? Do fish have drivers? Navigation?
It's part of the nature.
That's very good. That was very good, explorers. I like the way you think.
Good
Okay, let's now connect the dots and find the whole thing out of this. So we're going to read these together. Okay. So we said that fish live in communities. So we have the small fish eat the weeds, and larger fish eat smaller ones. This makes the food chain. Fish live in different habitats and environments: the river, the sea, the ocean. Let me ask you, what do we learn from the fish? Okay, so we learn to adapt to new environments and accept people who are different from us. We should value teamwork, like fish when they swim together. We are like fish, we have different colors and shapes as well. Fish feed on seaweed, and the other fish, this is the food chain we talked about. So creatures depend on each other. The fish and its system is connected to the universe, so we need the sea to, so we as human beings, we have, of course, God created different ecosystems. One of the ecosystems is the one that's in the sea, the river, and everywhere else. And we as human beings depend on these ecosystems. Okay. And now let's see the divine names. On purpose, we used the Arabic words, so we get the students exposed to the Arabic words of the divine names. Okay, so from what we learned today about the fish and their communication and their food chain and everything else, we can infer these divine names: Allah al-Jami', al-Razzaq, al-Badi', al-Hadi, al-Khaliq, al-Musawwir.
So we would essentially we would ask them what they think this means first, right? What each one means,
Yeah.
And then next.
Okay, and then now we're going to have a group activity where I want you in groups to give us real life scenarios relating to each divine name and to what we studied, to these divine names. Okay, so in groups you will find real life examples of these. For example, اسم الله الرزاق. Okay, اسم الله الخالق.
How is that reflected in real life?
Can you give the names?
Yeah. I'm moving faster just
We're moving fast because we're almost yeah. So that will get you guys to think about how the divine name is linked to the sea and what we're studying.
Okay. And okay, now our last part, okay. What are the benefits of fish? We already started our session discussing that some people like to eat fish, some people have the fish as a pet at their houses. Okay, so fish look beautiful in our homes, or even when we go to the sea or to the river, they have a high nutritional value for those who like eating fish, and they represent role modeling for teamwork and acceptance of others. Okay, they also come from different environments. So here we can see the interdependence of the fish with other creatures around them, the other plants and animals, okay, within the ecosystems that we mentioned, and this is their connectivity to the environment. Okay, and now, after we've discussed all this about the fish, could you see how beautifully Allah created the fish with the different colors, with the different aspects, okay? And when we see this, we can't but say Subhanallah wa bihamdih adada khalqih wa rida nafsih wa zinata arshihi wa midata kalimatih. So Subhanallah, and we feel really grateful to Allah for creating the fish and their habitat. This is an exit card for the students to take. Okay, so what lessons did you learn from the fish? And
what they learned from the fish.
So, and let's get back to Nemo. How do you think Nemo found his way? How do you think Nemo found his way? I want some answers, please.
Allah showed him the way.
He asked, so by asking, he found his way.
Allah showed him the way.
Does everyone know where Nemo's going, though? Right?
Okay, so it's Allah al-Hadi that made Nemo find his way. The verse أَمَّنْ يَهْدِيكُمْ فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَمَنْ يُرْسِلُ الرِّيَاحَ بُشْرًا بَيْنَ يَدَيْ رَحْمَتِهِ أَإِلَٰهٌ مَعَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى اللَّهُ عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ. And the other verse about واسألهم عن القرية التي كانت حاضرة البحر إذ يعدون في السبت إذ تأتيهم حيتانهم يوم سبتهم شرعا ويوم لا يسبتون لا تأتيهم.
So it's all about rizq again.
Okay, so about, yeah. Okay, so thank you.
Could you go back to the slide and connect slide?
Which one?
Connect.
Okay.
So mashallah, it was engaging and very colorful, and activities are great. I love the way you asked them to draw the fish first and then the submarine, because through that they would see there's so many similarities, right? So that was a very good activity. Okay. Go back one more. Okay, here. So there's a few things a little bit muddled up here. So you're taking stuff from the appreciate step into this part. So the way you put micro level, we learn to adapt to new environments and accept people who are different from us. That would be a moral lesson. And the way we would phrase that would be that, that when we are in a different environment, we learn to accept people who are different from us. We don't adapt. Adapt is a heavily laden secular word. Because adapt means that when we talk about animals adapting to their environments, it means that they themselves are changing to fit and live within that particular space. So when we talk about habitats, in the science book it's always written that polar bears have thick fur and fat, to be able to live in the cold. They have adapted. Or the camel has adapted to live in the desert by having X, Y, Z. Exactly. So watch out for the word
Through
adapt.
These, features or characteristics.
So all the things you have on micro level, that should be in the lessons, right?
For the adapt one, generally we prefer to say design to do that way. It's not they adapt to that, they're designed to live in desert, let's say.
Designed to survive.
Because the point here is adapts give impression as if this is just evolutionary happened by itself. While design clearly remind the designer that he intentionally made it that way. Because camels did not adapt to the desert. Camel was created and designed in a way to survive, to live in the desert. There's very big difference between the two ways to look at that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, so just few things. I think this group presentation was very excellent in terms of showing the grade level appropriate presentation. They did excellent job on that. So you just make sure that what you prepare is appropriate for the audience. Just 2-3 points I want to really share to, overall was really excellent. The very first thing you see, basically, they made it very clear about the fish that this is not natural, this can happen by itself. So in this case, that basically, the key part here, what really, should attract our attention, what they are teaching us and teaching our kids using the title of PhD or education is complete nonsense. So therefore, we shall not be shy of actually bringing God into the classroom, because without God talking about those things is like making everything to be complete nonsense. How would you think that those fish just gain all those amazing things by itself? How would you think that, like the questioning part when you had it? So essentially, it's really interesting. When Nursi wrote on the nature, treatise on the nature, he got extremely angry. Normally he used very kind language. He got extremely angry to those educated, ignorant people. He used this phrase like this. He says, look, what you're telling people is complete nonsense to the level, even you have ability to talk to donkeys, and if the donkeys become 100 times worse of the donkeys, they will run away and say, I'm not going to accept this. Who used this phrase and say, look, are you human? Do you have any mind? How would you accept such complete nonsense? And you use your title and don't care you're Harvard educated, you have a PhD. That is complete nonsense what you're telling. But what I see in many places, I see that, the teachers are not confident when they bring God into class, because they think now you go against the scientific way of explaining this phenomena, that now you're making this as more a kind of like a subjective, that you go against this objective, well-proven, knowledge, while it is actually extremely nonsense once you go and deeply reflect on that one. So I think your presentation was making very, very clear that if you bring God, it really brings excitement, it brings sense. Without God, it becomes completely nonsense. The one you mentioned, I had it in my note as well. I think there was a little confusion on that. You already mentioned that. The very last things, two things. So it was, a lot of activity was in there. So you can actually use activity itself as an analogy as well. So in a way that you can have them to draw fish, and then you can build all of your argument by comparing by drawing and the actual fish as well. So you keep in mind, sometimes you can design certain activity, and the activity could be your essential analogical thinking part. So that could be really good as well. And finally, I think, Sister Saba brought to my attention, I think she is right. In all cases, it seems like there's one thing still a little bit missing for almost all presentation. How do we really make the case for Allah? So I see that like we make the case clearly that there cannot be nature, cannot be chance, cannot be cause, but it does not necessarily mean that it's Allah making this. So we need to make it very clear that why we think it's Allah. To do that, because it's not like, because the other might say, oh, this could be a Christian God, or this could be a Buddhist, higher power as well. How do you know that the one who made this is actually Allah that you mentioned in the Quran? So in our case, the way we make it such case, we say, look, everything is absolutely impotent. For that reason, everything needs to rely on everything else. So this interdependency, not only interconnectivity, interdependency, that being contingent and have to rely on the entire universe to do some things, clearly shows that every single thing requires the collaboration of the entire universe to get that single thing. And that basically means that you need to have infinite power. If that's infinite power, by logic, infinite power can only be one. And that is the unity and oneness of God. That's how we make the case. So in a way that we have to make a case like this phone can be done by a human. Why? It does not require infinite power and infinite knowledge. But a single cell can never be made by a human being. Actually, any God-created thing can never be duplicated by a human being. They cannot create it. Why? Because it requires the infinite power and infinite knowledge. So we need to somehow bring this into our reasoning, that we say, look, that is what you need to really bring a single fish, not single fish even, a single cell of a fish. So you need to have infinite power and infinite knowledge. So I think that's one, again, so, it's somehow, you can see some sign there, but to me it wasn't quite clear argument there. I think it's really essential to bring it there. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, inshallah, you can start. Try and please keep it to 10 minutes max.
Inshallah, we're going to try to make it as quick as possible. Now, I want you all to just imagine as if you are grade 1 students, but don't behave like grade 1 students, please. Okay, so our topic today will be about the changing weather. First, we're going to start by asking, here we have different nationalities. So I want at least, please, 3 sharing. How is the weather in your country right now? I know you're here in Turkey, all of you, but in your country, how is the weather right now?
Hot and humid.
Hot.
They are
hot and humid.
Warning us of 41 degrees that didn't happen before.
Okay. So how was the weather 3 months ago in your country?
Very hot.
You are from Pakistan. Okay, got it. 2 weeks ago it was rainy. It was cold. So we have over here, what happened to the weather? Change. So the weather changes, okay? So you already know from preschool the weather, right? In circle time, if you remember. So I'm gonna show you some pictures and you need to tell me what is the weather. So the first picture, who can tell me?
Sunny.
Sunny, great. Second one? Cloudy. Third? Rainy. Windy. And snowy, and this is snowy. Okay, so the weather changes, and the weather, it changes even in the same country. It might change every month, it might change every day. Sometimes in Germany, as Sumaira told me, it might change at the same day. Okay, so over here, we are going now to meet a scientist that she's gonna tell us nice facts about this.
How many of you like popsicle? Oh no, I guess me too. You like the pink one? I like the red ones. Anyway, popsicles is actually an accidental invention. Some kid in New York or in San Francisco actually left a can of soda outside and then found it frozen the next day. So that's how the invention of the popsicle. And then with a stick in it. So that's how the invention of the popsicle came along. And then also, did you know that you see so many in the rainy season? We see a lot of frogs. do you know why we see a lot of frogs in the rainy season? They have a sense of knowing that it's about to rain. So they sense the rain, and hence there's more frogs. And then also, did you know, like in Canada where we come from, because of the different weather changes, like the train tracks will change. Like they'll expand in the summer and contract in the winter. And then so we have a lot of road works there because of the changes of the weather. Okay. Do you want to move to the next?
Thank you, Scientist Muna. And now we said that the weather changed, but how does the weather change? This is what we're gonna see in the video. I'm gonna skip this part. Okay. Now. It doesn't want to skip. Okay. Who can tell me, according to what you watched in the video, what is the weather? What is change of temperature? Yeah, and how does it change?
What makes the wind and the sun?
Yeah, and from the air, and this is how when the air changes, then we're gonna feel hot sometimes or cold sometimes. You are grade 1 students, don't forget that. Okay, so who can tell me, what do you prefer more, the hot or the cold? The cold, raise your hand. Okay, the hot students. Okay.
I like snow.
You like snow? Okay. Okay. And now what we are going to do is an activity. The institution, thankfully, they gave us a copybook. I want you just to tear one of the papers. And now we're gonna make a paper fan, because when we are feeling hot, what do we need?
Air.
We want some air, right? So we're gonna make a paper fan similarly to this video. Okay, so let's imagine that you made a paper fan similar to this one. So no, now it's time for a paper fan, because this is what it's gonna get you.
Only a fan.
Okay, now this paper fan, who invented it? Who made it right now? You did. Who else? So each one of you is supposed to be having one. Let's imagine. Okay, you're moving your hand. Why are you moving your hand?
That's my paper fan. That's my paper fan right there.
Okay, why are you moving your hand?
Why am I moving?
Yeah.
Why don't you have it?
That's how it works.
Why doesn't it work on its own? Okay, I made the paper fan. Why does it work? Why don't I get air on its own?
Because you didn't connect a motor to it. You had a motor.
Spoken like a true engineer.
Okay. So what if we want more air, or we want to feel more cold? This paper fan is not enough. So what are we going to do? We can turn on the AC. Tab, you, as grade 1 student, you were able to make a paper fan. Could any one of you make an AC right now?
Yeah, he could. My dad can.
Your dad can. Tab, can you tell me more about your dad? How did he learn that?
He's a Superman.
He's an engineer. Do you know, have you ever witnessed your dad while making an AC? Yeah? What does he use?
Well, he uses different pots, and he does things, and sometimes there's sparks, and sometimes there's a fire, but at the end he makes it work.
Okay. So the AC, so we may use the AC in order to feel more cold, or we may use the heater. And both of these, what do they need in order to invent them? So he told us that his dad can make this because he's an engineer and he used tools. Okay.
Electricity. They need electricity.
We need material, we need electricity. Your dad can, but you can't. Why? What does he have more than you?
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Smart.
He has the knowledge.
Okay, so he has more knowledge.
Will be smarter than him.
Inshallah.
You're a terrible grade 1.
So if you want to compare between the weather that we said that it changed and between the fan or the air conditioner or the heater that are man-made, what do you think? The paper fan, we invented the paper fan. Can it move on its own? No. Can the AC be turned on its own? No. Can we, if we just have the tools of the AC, put them here and just take it, magically have an AC? No. Okay. So what about the wind? What about the sun? What about the weather, the snow and so on? Can it be made on its own? So all of these, they need a power, which is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So does the rain occur by itself, like by nature? Where do the clouds come from? Did the sun send the sunlight by itself? Did the cloud give the order to the sun, now I'm gonna move, you rise, and so on? Did the wind give the order? This is what I said, so it should be here. So the weather, what about the weather? Who changes the weather?
Allah.
Who do you think commands the weather? Gives it instructions?
Allah.
So as we said previously, can the AC be out of nothing? Can we have the AC directly?
Not possible.
Okay. So do the clouds move on without a purpose? And in order to do this, what we might do is we might ask the grade 1 students just to move on around in the classroom and try to reflect on it. What would happen? Would they bump into each other? What would happen? How would it be? Okay, and then we might reflect and okay, the clouds up there, are they moving on without a purpose, without a track that they need to follow? Who designed this track? Who gave them the command? So all of this, we reflect on it. And we may also, after all of this, reflect. Some of you, they said you like hot water, hot weather, and some of you the cold. But for each there is advantages, and for each there is a purpose. So we may also reflect on a song. I'm gonna play on a song, and you're gonna tell me what's wrong with this song. So the song which is rain, rain, go away. So what's wrong with this song? Why why is it wrong to say that the rain should go away? Okay.
Because Allah moves it.
Mm-hmm. What if the rain goes away? What would?
I think some areas, some cultures, they don't have water, and so you can't tell. They want the water to come.
Will we be alive if we don't have rain? From where shall we get water? And the plants, and we can link it to everything.
But
and now,
rain to go away so I can go out and play. I want rain to go away so I can go out and play.
What if you don't have rain at all?
You can come back on another day. The song says go away.
Oh man, you got in trouble.
Okay.
So, but if you had scarcity of water, you'd be singing to have rain come, just like the brother said there.
Okay, so we're going to continue with the part. So we talked about the sun is a part of our solar system. The clouds is a part of our solar system. So those are, I'm going to try to explain than to teach, so because we don't have much time. So we'll talk to the kids, especially what they learn now, if the sun by itself, and hopefully they know the solar system. So it's a part of the solar system, and that affect the sun and the cloud and the weather on Earth. And if we could explain a little bit about global warming, how the weather is changing, that will connect them to a higher picture of just having the rain and the sun. And the next one. So, and from here, we're going to try to have the divine names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by, of course, we're asking the questions and to entice the kids and make them like understand the name of those names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So who makes the rain Who makes the rain to grow? Who makes the rain grow the fruits that we eat? So it's, if it wasn't like, as we want to come back to the rain go away. So that's another question. If the rain goes away, so how are we going to have the trees? How are we going to have the fruit? And who make those fruit? Who make the rain comes to this area instead of that area? And that was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the name of Allah of that, the one that gives us the food, we call him Ar-Razzaq subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also, who knows when will the weather change? So sometimes you see cold, sometimes we see rain, winter, summer. So how does that change affect the weather? How does the changing of the weather affect our life? So imagine if we have only summertime or if we have winter time and all over the earth. So that affects really our life. And who knows what's best for us is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-alim. So we don't complain, as Mr. Oveis said, we don't complain about the rain because Allah knows what's best for us. So we accept it and we try to cope with it or try to do the best of it. Okay? And then, of course, for Al-Khaliq, Allah created the sun, Allah created the cloud, Allah created the fruits, everything that comes from the weather is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the appreciated part, it's just a continuation. So we appreciate the weather by finding the benefit of it. So what if we didn't get rain? See, that's just, so we really have to appreciate the rain. And the same if the sun, sometimes people, like I remember my son, he said, Mama, turn the sun off when he was young. So if the sun is not there, if in the morning we don't have the sun, imagine how it's going to be. So the kids will just entice their thinking to think about and watch, okay, yeah, the sun, comes every day, it's hot, but it's still, I need it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who in control of it. And then we'll go for the connection part, appreciation part from the Quran. And we have, and as this is very important ayah because it's, as Dr. Najati talks about, we. So, and we send down from, so who sent the rain? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the rain is from Allah and everything comes with it, it's connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why we, وَأَنزَلْنَا, and even in translation they didn't put that we may. And I added there because I want to emphasize the we, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty. And yeah.
And this is going to be reflected on it in the benefits and the purpose.
So because that's where the plants and the seeds and all the fruits and all the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the dhikr, and we had it differently, but when Dr. Najati talks about it, we try to switch it. Still, it's little bit not like clear for me especially. So the dhikr, I try to make it this way. The dhikr is, Allah give us the resources to, and not adapt, we should change that one, to, what do we say? Allah give us the resources to cope with any weather. So that's the dhikr, like just to contemplate Allah, like give us the winter, the summer, the fall, to be able to cope with it and live with it and appreciate it also. And the fikr is the generosity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine, like, I know there are some areas that has no water, that's why we shouldn't even at all think about rain go away. Really, because it just like shows that we are just very limited thinking. We don't think about people who wish for a day a rainy day. And for the shukr, of course, be thankful. As from beginning, we were talking about the bounty of Allah, and the rain is a blessing, and how we grow food, how we get all of that. So that's a shukr part. And the hadith, so I put this picture for the kids to see how they're happy with the rain, but at the same time, we have to remember what do we do even if we're happy, which is connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the dua that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allahumma sayyiban nafi'an, every time he sees the rain. And it means, oh Allah, make it a beneficial rain. So that shows that the rain, even if it's like we're happy with it, still we need to go back and link it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so I think that's all. Just go to the next one.
And then the moral lessons that can be learned from this lesson would be appreciation, it would be cooperation, to cooperate and to be tolerant and that everything that happens is a source of goodness, and that we need to appreciate these things, and then to also cope with the different. Now we come from cold weather, and then we go to hot weather, to be tolerant and to have, tolerance and patience for that, inshallah. So those are some of the lessons that we could derive from presenting this lesson. Jazakallah khair. Any questions or?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's over the one word. I don't know. I missed that part. I think the in one place use accidental.
Yes.
So that word is I think is a little bit a problem. So because there is no accidents really. If Allah is involved in everything, there is no coincidence, there is no accidents, there is no chance, there is no luck. So everything is meant in a particular way. The subject that you choose, weather, and there are a lot of subjects like this, is very clear topics to show interconnectivity, in a way to show the team working. So as if like the ocean, the air, let's say clouds and the sun, everything, the moon, they all work together as a team. So, and I think when you look at the subject, you see the subject clearly requires such interconnectivity. So the questioning part even can be more toward that. You say, do you think they actually, think about this to work together? Do they have a mind to really collaborate, to work as a team? And do they care about us to really work together in a way that they can come up with something good for us and other living beings? Because this is ultimately, if you are going to give them as a collaborative team working, so you have to assume that they have certain a kind of human traits, like a caring, like a knowledge, like a will, that they can do that along with the power. So that's, I think, the question part can be used as well. As you mentioned, I think zikr, fikr, shukr, it's the little like missing that zikr part. What we really want to say in this case, we say, this weather system in its elegance can only be the creation of God. It is Him behind that. He is behind all type of weather, So in this case, that's zikr. We remember, we connect this to Creator. The fikr part, that you point to the amazement of the system. And you point something within the system. You say, look, this is how He does it. So zikr will say He is the one doing. Fikr will say this is how He does it. And then shukr parts basically point to the benefit to us, and I think you did it very, good job on that. Yeah, that's the part. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. All right, almost 5 o'clock, and everyone wants to get out of here, right? You guys all just stand up for 2 minutes. Just stand, stretch, and let's sit back. It's been a long day, right? Jazakallah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Teacher, you have to listen to, all right? Your parents will be contacted, right?
They will listen. No. They want to listen. Thank you. You can have a seat.
Sleeping.
All right.
Breathe out.
The topic of discussion today is electricity. Who doesn't know what electricity is in this room? Anyone? You don't know what electricity is? Well, you're going to find out today. At the end of today, you'll know what electricity is. All right. Who can tell me what is electricity? Who can tell me what is electricity? Anyone? Sorry?
Form of energy.
Form of energy. Okay. Anything else?
Gives light.
Gives light.
Flow of electrons.
Flow of electrons. Very good. Anything else?
Grade
7. Grade 7. I've got grade 7. So. Anyone else? No? Electricity?
Light.
Light. Okay. Light, electrons. What else was there? Energy. Right? Okay. Very good. Very good answers. Can you see it? Can anyone see electricity?
No.
Sorry? No, electricity.
You can see the effects.
Can you see electricity? If you see electricity, I'll buy you dinner tonight. Now, you name it. Anyone? No? No. Okay. I want you to remember these questions, right? Because from a scientific thing, what do we always think? if I can see it, if I can feel it, if I can touch it,
Then I believe.
then it's I believe, right? So I want you to remember this part, okay? Can I feel it?
Yes.
Smell the electricity.
Die.
You like it? I really don't recommend trying to feel electricity, right? Right? Unless you're a daredevil. You might not live to see another day. And it's one of the things as an engineer, I always respect that. I try not to feel electricity. I try to do everything and ask Allah to protect me not to feel that. Because that might be my last day when I feel it. So I really suggest don't try feeling electricity, right? Can you experience its effects?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? Can you tell me one thing in this room that you're feeling the effects of electricity? Air condition, thank you. Anyone else? Projector.
Microphone, lights.
Lights, everything, right?
Yes.
Perfect, very good. So these are questions that I want you to remember, okay? Because we're going to wrap up with something important at the end. Remember what we had taught? If I can't see it, if I can't feel it, I need to see, feel, touch, etc. for it to be true, right?
Okay.
All right, so electricity is a flow of electrons in a circuit. That's what electricity is. A flow of electrons from a certain path in a closed loop. Again, we can't deep dive into today's class. And in the next class, we're going to deep dive into actual charges and flow along. Today, it's going to give you an overview. All right? So it is a flow of electrons swimming around in a closed loop, right, from a positive side to a negative side. That's what electricity is. Now, you might have, electricity is one of the most widely used forms of energy. And it's going to be used more and more. Right? Anyone knows how? What's happening right now in the world?
Alternative energy.
Cars,
Electric
right?
car.
What's happening in cars? We're going to come to that really quick.
Batteries.
More batteries, so cars are being transformed from petrol to electricity. Thank you. Okay? All right, let me show you how electricity, we have electricity right now, right? The lights are on, right? How does it work? So you have a power generation plant, something that produces the electricity. How does that work? We'll come to that. Then there's something called transformer that gets transmitted. Have you seen these poles?
Yeah.
These poles, you might have seen it, right? Under these poles, when you travel, you see these electric poles. These are transmission lines. Then it comes down to something called a transformer.
Step down.
Then it finally arrives at your house and goes through the panels, and then you have a little switch. When you turn the switch on, what happens? Light turns on, right? So is the power coming from that switch, or is it coming from somewhere else?
Somewhere else.
Somewhere else, exactly. I want you to remember that part too. It's not the switch that turns on the light, but there is a power source, right? That's why I need to remember that I got to pay those bills, right? If I don't have, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Blackout, right?
Blackout.
How many of you guys have experienced a blackout in today's work?
Yes.
Is that a good experience or?
No. Phone. It's no phone.
What happened? No phone.
No phone.
Okay, anything else?
No. The air condition.
Pretty much life.
The air condition.
Air condition stuff. Life almost comes to a standstill. Yes or no? Unfortunately. Yes?
Yes.
But is that only in the West or is it everywhere?
It's everywhere.
Effects of that is
Everywhere.
Especially with electricity in your vehicles. When you don't have electricity and you can't charge your car, you will not be able to move. People don't realize this, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this really quick. Power generation. How is electricity generated?
Turbines. Use of turbines.
Something moves and something happens and then finally get electricity, right? So something has to be fed in or it's going to happen. Does this happen?
No, something has to feed it. Either wind, water.
Wind, water, right? So what happens when wind turns something called a turbine, and that wind energy then gets transferred to electrical energy. You have, or another form of could it be what?
Water.
Water. Have you seen water? Right? I remember when I went to Spain, right? They had this water turbine and the water would flow and then that would turn and that gives electricity, right? Then other ways, what else? Fuel, right? Again, there's many different ways we generate electricity, right? Okay, some facts. Did you know the daily global consumption of electricity for 2021?
So what is really, is it something burning down and electricity is generated from that? Where does it come from actually?
That's a very good question. Where does electricity come from, right? Like I said, there's what? A transformation that's happening of energy. Energy is being transformed from what? One form
to another.
Correct? From chemical energy to mechanical energy to electrical energy. Or wind energy, which is to mechanical to electrical, right? But where is the original source of that energy coming from? That's my question to you. Where do you think that source of energy is coming from?
I don't know. What I read, it seems like the electrons are flowing, moving from one place to other, and something emerging.
So that's electrical energy.
Yeah, there's electrical energy.
So when a turbine turns, right, there is something called a magnetic field. And a magnetic field, the turbine turning itself drives something called a generator, right? That generator is the opposite of something we call a motor. You've seen a motor, right? Again, this is going to be discussed in the next class because it's a more deeper dive, and that's why I mentioned in the beginning the deep dive of the electron we will talk in the next class. So let's keep those questions till then. Thank you. So coming back to my question. Daily consumption of electricity for 2021 is 25,343 tetrawatts. You know what tetrawatts is? 10 to the power of 12 watts. This is my charger. Do you know how much this uses? 20 watts. 20 watts. So 5 of these times 10 to the power of 12 times 25. That's how much energy is being used on a daily basis. Electrical energy in the world. Fun fact. It can travel near the speed of light. The brain can power a light bulb. Our brains. Right? The light bulb. That's it.
So if I put a bulb on my head, it's going to come on?
We're going to work on that project. Me and you are going to work on that project. Coal is the highest fuel used in the generating of electricity. Coal, that's a good one. We're going to work on that. Coal is the highest fuel used in the generation of electricity. The EU, the European Union, is planning to move away from ice to EVs. What's ice? They don't want to stop snow. No? Ice is internal combustion engine. The
cool.
Regular cars that you see run on an internal combustion engine.
Carbon.
They want to get away from that to EV, electrical vehicles, in the transport industry by 2025.
Would that cause a loss in jobs?
I got to find out. Not really. Not really. No, I don't think so. Allah. Compared and contrast. So, here's a good thing. We know about electricity, we know about charge, we know about charge flowing. What do you see here in this picture? Do you want?
Lightning.
Lightning. And a plant. A plant that is generating electricity, and right next to it is what's happening? Lightning. Correct? Is lightning a phenomena that you've seen? Have you seen lightning? Who hasn't seen lightning? Is it scary? Is it scary? Why?
It shows the power.
The power of what?
Power of God.
The power of God. Very good. Okay. We'll come to that. A typical power plant generates 2,400 megawatts in an hour. In comparison, a typical lightning flash, which is basically, again, we'll come to the electrons and this can be explained how lightning works, right? But it's a form of energy that is coming from the clouds down to the earth. That has a flash about 90 million megawatts in 1/10 of a second.
There's no comparison here.
Exactly. Do you see that? Today man is trying, as inventors, are trying how we can take that energy and use it usefully. That's not a way. Okay? How does that get generated, that kind of energy? We work day and night and day, to get that kind of numbers and then leave it in a flash of a second. How much effort, money, power is needed to create a power plant?
A lot.
It takes years.
Billions and trillions.
Exactly. All right, next.
Sorry, can I stop you there?
Stop questions at the end. Otherwise, I have someone monitoring.
Okay, grade 7. Are you happy if there is no electricity with you?
No.
How about you, Mustafa? Are you happy?
No.
How about you? Are you happy if there is electricity? Show me that you are happy. If you are happy and you know it, say Alhamdulillah. If you are happy and you know it, say Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, like that. Okay, don't forget to pray. Right? Yeah. Oh Allah, Al-Alim, please help me be good at science so I can serve it to serve the Ummah and be a better servant. Okay?
Okay.
Don't forget the dua.
Inshallah.
Okay. Now do you bring your ruler with you? Do you bring your ruler?
No.
No? Because you are a good student or bad student?
In between.
Okay. You have plastic with you?
No.
Let's do a little experiment about it. Okay, have you tried? Like this?
Oh, static electricity. Static electricity.
Have you?
Yes.
Experiment with you?
You can use a biro.
Yeah, please, try it.
No, you can even do it with a biro.
Yeah. With your hair or your friend's hair?
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked the students to do the experiment with their ruler or their plastic like this, or maybe they bring their, what is it?
Pencil.
This one?
Oh, cool.
Comb. Okay, so do the plastic. And then I asked them students, what do you think about this experiment? So your hair and the plastic and then become closer.
Does it charge?
Charge.
Do you remember that we have discussed about magnetic? You are grade 7, remember? We have talked about magnet. Okay, so how do you explain it? Anybody? Attraction between?
Negative.
Negative and?
Pole and positive pole.
Yeah, negative and positive.
Hey,
this is what we call static
electricity.
Electricity. Okay. So now we come to question. We have the question. Okay. How is electricity made? And then, is it long lasting? No. Okay. How about this one? You can also see the picture. Just now, the teacher explained about how to generate. Okay. Can different parts to generate make the electricity put each other together by themselves? Is there any chance to do like that? No.
Not possible.
Not possible. Okay. Is there anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created similar to electricity?
Yes, lightning.
Lightning. Okay, yeah. What is it?
Solar energy.
Solar energy. Okay, let's talk about it later, okay? Where does the energy for the electricity come from?
Plant. Energy plant.
The energy plant, like this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Friction. Yeah, that's how we do the experiment with this. Yeah.
From fuel.
From?
Fuel.
Yeah, that's why. In the picture we can see from the coal. Yeah. And then this is the question: how do you make use the electricity in your daily life? Okay. Laptop. How do you make it use it?
Phones.
Okay.
Charge your phones.
If you go out from your room and then the light is still turned on, what do you think?
You should turn it off.
Yeah, we should turn it off to
Save energy.
save the energy. Okay, so this is very important one, to save the
Energy.
Okay, because here we have the question about how to make the electricity, and then we depend on, what is it? That's here, the picture, depends on the first source of electricity.
Water.
Water flow.
Reservoir.
Yeah, and there in the next picture,
Coal.
where do they come from?
The earth.
Nature.
Don't say nature. It's a nature.
Nature?
We are learning. We are still
Yes, that's right. So this become the opportunity to explain to this kind of students. Mention about nature from water and coal. Okay, that's the last of question. Can you create electricity? That's the final question. Can you create electricity?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Yes, you can create.
Material already there, I can.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the creation, right? Yeah. Okay. Then
Create or
become the
produce.
ayat. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue to the next one.
جزاكم خيرا. All right. طيب. So guys, do you know that electricity is actually all around us? As we said there, it's enlightening. Some animals have electricity. Do you know a kind of fish that has electricity?
Electric eel.
Yeah, it actually has electricity. There's electricity in our brain, as we said, and static electricity is actually all around us. So electrons are everywhere, all over. All right? What does that tell us? Right? How can you connect then the electrons with the rest of the universe? It's everywhere, right? Now, who created the electrons? Did they create themselves?
The creator.
They need a creator, right? They can't just pop into existence all over the place. That's just, it doesn't make sense for things to pop into existence. It must have been made in some kind of way. And it requires so much power to bring even one electron into existence. Yet, the electrons are everywhere. And since they're everywhere, right, and everything has it, and everything is created by that same creator who created the electrons. Everything in the universe is created by Allah who created the electrons. We talked about power plant and how much it takes to create a power plant. And not only that, you can have a power plant, but still requires constantly something to move those turbines, right? And, well, how about a light meter? How does it just come into existence? Requires certain energy, and it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives it that energy. Now, just think about it for a second. The whole way we generate electricity is the turbines turn around a magnetic rod, right? And then that generates electricity. The one who gave it these properties, what if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to stop doing that? Right? It didn't give it that ability anymore. And so we have turbines and there's no electricity being made anymore. How would that impact our life? What would happen? What would happen if there's no more electricity, guys? All the turbines in the world, they don't produce it anymore because the properties of nature, that so-called scientists say nature, the creator changed those properties. What would happen? No more electricity, guys. How would that affect you?
Is it possible to generate electricity without electrons?
Requires a change of energy. And that's why every electricity that we have in the world made by power plants that have some kind of turbine that turns, right? So when we say coal is used or water or air, it's all doing, right? It's turning a turbine. But if that turbine turning doesn't generate enough electricity, guys, what would happen to our lives?
Dark Ages.
Stone, dark ages.
Stone Age.
But are humans ready to go back in the Stone Ages right now?
No.
What happens if there's a whiteout in a city for 3 days?
Serious consequences.
Yeah. You get hurricanes and stuff like that, right? And you see people looting and it's just chaotic.
Hospitals will have serious issues.
I mean, everything, we depend on it so much and we take it for granted. And we think we are the ones who generate electricity ourselves. We're so smart, we're humans. Right? But it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who does that. Now look at this ayah. When it comes to lightning, Allah says, هُوَ الَّذِي يُرِيكُمُ الْبَرْقَ خوفا وطمعا. He's the one who shows you lightning to actually instill fear and hope within you. Right? So these are signs of Allah for us to actually have emotions and connect to Him and to His power. Also consider this ayah here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ النَّارَ الَّتِي تُورُونَ. The fire which we kindle, right? We make fire. We use different sources to make fire. Allah says, أَأَنْتُمْ أَنْشَأْتُمْ شَجَرَتَهَا أَمْ نَحْنُ الْمُنْشِئُونَ. Are you the ones who produced its tree or the fuel? Or was it Allah who produced it? So we use these things in nature, right? And forget who created it. And we say it's nature. But it's Allah who created it for us. Right? And so Allah is saying, think about the fire we used. Don't think you're the ones who create the fire. Allah is the one who allowed you and give the properties for fire to burn. So we need to reflect on that and connect to our Creator as we do that. So, what can we tell about our Creator when we look at electricity or lightning? Okay? Here I would ask students to give me answers, but we're going to go through it quickly. Well, Al-Azim, Allah is so great. Right? There's lightning flashes all over the world. So much energy in there. How much powerful is Allah? Al-Latif, He's so subtle. Right? Allah is so powerful, it is so subtle. Electricity is everywhere, it seems so subtle. Right? Al-Zahir, Al-Batin. Allah is so apparent, yet so hidden. Electricity seems so apparent, yet so hidden, you don't see it. Al-Nafi' wal-Dar. Electricity can give us, right, benefit, it can harm us. Alright, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of all good, and if He wills anything bad for us, He would also do that. Alright, as I said, when we discussed how much we are dependent on it, how it would affect our lives if we, suddenly didn't have electricity anymore, Allah changed properties. So, should we be thankful to scientists who discovered, how to generate electricity? Should we be thankful to Allah who gave us, those abilities and those properties in nature? Who should we be thanking?
Allah.
Allah. Now, we could thank people too, guys. Right? We can appreciate the people, what they've done. The Prophet said, the one who doesn't appreciate the people doesn't appreciate Allah.
No.
Right? So we appreciate people, but we don't forget it's Allah ultimately who gave us all of this and put these properties into place. Now, consider this, guys. When is the last time you used electricity and you said Alhamdulillah when you were done? When is the last time you switched off, the switch in your bedroom and you said Alhamdulillah?
Alhamdulillah.
If you live in certain countries, you probably do that. Right? But those who have it all the time, you barely even turn it off.
Yeah.
Your parents have to tell you to turn it off, don't they?
True.
They're like, why, Dad? It's free. Right? It's not free. Right? And you should be thankful. It's something that is actually provided to us by Allah. Just like when you drink water and you eat food, you thank Allah. When you use electricity, next time, guys, thank Allah. Alright, so what does Allah want from us? He gave us this beautiful gift. We use it all the time, everywhere. Does He want us to go up on a hill when there's lightning and pray to Him? Right? No. Right? Allah doesn't want us to risk our life. Allah wants us to remember Him. Connect to the power, the sign that He shows us. See it as actually a sign of Allah. Alright? He wants us to reflect on Allah's power, His power and ability and qudra, right? That's what He wants from us. And of course, to be thankful, grateful. It's such a blessing. Electricity is such a blessing. Like, it's on me right now. It's in my phone, right? Batteries also use electricity through chemical charges. Now, what can we learn from electricity? Electricity actually has some amazing aspects to it. Electricity fully submits to Allah. It doesn't change its behavior. It's always following Allah's command. So we need to always follow Allah's command. Electricity always follows a direct path. It doesn't go around, right? It goes on a straight path. We need to stay on a straight path that Allah gave us, Sirat al-Mustaqim. All right? Electricity has so many benefits to people. We should have a lot of benefits to people. When it's dark, it can be used to light up a room. And if somebody is in a dark place, be the light for them to get them out of it. And electricity can hurt people, and it's a reminder for us that we are accountable, and Allah will account us if we go off track. Thank you. After the feedback, there's a 1-minute video after the feedback.
Okay. So very good. I think it's excellent, but it seems like Brother Uwais intentionally prepared in a way to really be fair and criticize him harshly, maybe, right? Because he's always asking harsh questions, right? So I think there are a lot of rooms for for harsh question. So overall, it's really good, and particularly the ending moral and character lessons are very, well, expressed. So actually there is a, I don't know, this is a very good example of to see, what is the, how would you treat certain topic or deal with certain topic like electricity? Because the question here, what you're studying, are you looking at electricity or are you looking at the, lightning? Okay, because remember on analogy normally go with God-made versus man-made. Now, in your case, it seems like you try to make it another way, but actually both are God-made in a way. Because electricity is God-made, and lightning is God-made as well. So you're comparing one God-made with another God-made one. So the way you compare, the way you phrase it, so I will rather say that you could do that way, but we do in some cases. Let's say there are certain subjects that is basically the subject is a man-made that you could do it opposite and to appreciate that. But remember, our objective here is really, our objective is to really, in the 5D, is to appreciate not man-made, to appreciate God-made thing, right? So we try to connect with God. So though at very advanced level, all man-made thing in reality is God-made, but we cannot really tell them in those 5th, 6th grade level. This is like in high school or even graduate level, because it's very advanced. Because in reality, there's absolutely no man-made. Okay, everything's God-made, but we can't really bring this into discussion at elementary, middle school, even high school. I guess they will not be ready for that. But I think from what you present, I was basically I will say we have the subject. When we look at it, we say we do is not really, we're not producing electricity. We are harvesting electricity. So electricity is created by Allah, it's out there. What we're doing, we're trying to find a certain way to go and harvest the created electricity. So that harvesting takes enormous knowledge, planning, will, power to do that. That's how we come up with a way to harvest electricity. Now, in your case, in one way you could do, you can say, look, compare the harvesting versus the very source of the electricity. If you appreciate the harvesting of electricity that much, and you pay a price for it, don't you think there must be, the maker, the source of the electricity itself? Because the concept of electricity itself is not, because when you look at the presentation as if like the electricity is a man-made and lightning is a God-made, and we compare the two. But I think it's very essential to say the man-made part is only the harvesting part of the electricity. Is not, you're not producing, you're not making electricity. You're just discovering where is electricity, and you're just getting certain tool to just harvest that and use it that. And that's the only part that I was like thinking that how you could, but you can still again compare with the lightning. I mean, to really as a type of electricity, then you can just now say, you know, and then you can basically, you know, bring that as well. But I think if you're looking man-made and God-made, is essentially you need to focus on this harvesting part as a man-made, which takes knowledge, power, and will. Then you have them say, look, this all be useless if there was no electricity. Could you create electricity? Is there anyone who could make the electricity? Why not? Then if there is a maker of harvesting, that don't you think there must be maker of the electricity itself? So that is the type of thing I will say. Yes.
My answer to that is, see, again, they have a very short window of time, right? And that's why I said it's the next lecture, because the explanation of how electronics go in an electric circuit is very important. Once that, and then it goes back to what you're saying, it's everything harvested, right? Whether it's coal, whether it's, and in that I would show electrical panels, right? Solar panels, wind, right? And then it's all about, and if you really, when you ask people about solar, they say we are harvesting sunlight, we are harvesting. So it all goes back. And if you explain fossil fuels, then I would even go one step beyond, like how, okay, there's some form of energy that is used, right? Whether it's fossil fuel, whether it's the sun, whether it's this. What's the source of all of that? Fossil fuel, everyone, then you go into fossil fuel where, okay, this thousands and thousands of years got us here, right? So, and they all say that fossil fuels will finish at one day, right? I mean, that's why they're going to all of this other. So I think more, that would be the follow-up lecture, where we go to every single source and then show, look, all of this is being harvested. There's no way you can create it. You can't create this. Electricity is only simply the flow of charge, electrons. That's it. What causes it is this. But this is all where. Does man have anything to do with it? Absolutely.
Yeah, the way I see, basically, again, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but the way I see my understanding of electricity, it seems like there is an ibda that is directly created, actually. Because the flow, there's nothing losses there. Just the electron moving one. If I move from here to here, nothing's come out of that moving. You might lose something, but you cannot produce some things. So in a way, but again, you know, maybe we need to look at the scientific understanding of what really, because it's not like normally, it's not something turning to something else. It's by just something moving to someone else, some things emerge out of that. You know, that's we call electricity in a way. So that's current with that. So again, I think the key part here is to really have them to appreciate electricity as a God's blessing and an amazing bounties of Allah, and not take it for granted, and then say, look, we all appreciate those harvesting tools and the science engineers who discovered that, but don't you think we should really appreciate the very electricity itself? And no one is making, there's not a man-made. What we're doing with just harvesting, I think that is really what we could do, in a sense that will really bring the sense of appreciation. And everything as you did, I think it was really, really very, very good on this regard. But that part, when I look at an analogy, that your emphasis on analogy, so I was like, you know, thinking, okay, really it's like, and I was under the impression as if that this electricity is something man-made and this lightning is something God-made. But in reality, electricity is also God-made. So I need to put on emphasis on this harvesting part of this alone as a man-made, and that takes consciousness, will, and power and knowledge to really bring into existence.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I think the generate. Yeah, I think. Yeah, but they use it. They use the create again. The plant create power plant create electricity. That I will go against that. But generate is like more light word. Yeah. But in yours you had it in initial slide. You use a create for plants. That I will say I will avoid that. Yeah, power plant create and electricity. That was something like this. So I will avoid that because it's not necessary. You can say generate.
Can I say something? I think at this level, then what we need to do is clarify exactly what it is that we are trying to teach in the subject of electricity. So what we're trying to teach at this grade level anyway is that you have a power plant. From the power plant, you put something in and you get something out, right? So that should be that should be the focus. That's what you're teaching. And in order to teach that through the 5D model, is that you would say that in this power plant, we need it in order to get electricity that we can use for our daily life, right? And people need to, people discovered this, people put in the effort and the knowledge, etc., to find the method of how we can generate the electricity or use the fossil fuels or any form of energy to make electricity which is useful for us. So that's one aspect. And then the second dimension, the analogy, then we would say, what reminds you of electricity? What is something that you can see around you that is not made by any power plant, that doesn't need anything for it to be generated? It's just there, it exists. So, and then you talk about the phenomena of lightning, and then you go to the next few steps. Because remember, we have to give a practical way to the teachers to take this topic. Questions for him? Yeah?
Yes. I think
it's okay.
That's your point. I think that the key part here is like, if you the subject here is electricity, right? Is not power plant.
No, but when you're teaching in a science book, what you're teaching is that you have a power plant, and that is where electricity is generated, right? So that's in your textbook. That's what's there. That's what you have to teach. So that's what I'm saying. We contain the focus to that because we have to teach it. We can't.
Yeah, I agree. But that's why I think, you know, I will still, I don't know. I will still think what would be really proper analogy, because your objection here is you're saying that we need to really come up with good analogy to understand how the electricity is created through the power plant, right? So I think, I don't know, like, because essentially the phenomena here that, as you mentioned, is there is a certain process through which that you're harvesting electricity. Now, how can I really make them to make sense of that one, right? That's the things. That's
basically what it is the transfer of energy, right?
Yes.
Like, for example, right, and I always, this is the first class when I teach electricity, I actually show them using the concept of water. I said, if water was just there, right, and if I had a bucket of water and I was just lying on the floor, would it move around? Would you say no? So imagine there's a 10-story building, right? I take a bucket of water, I carry it on the top, right? And right next to the building is like a water, the
wheel,
right? Water wheel, right? I pour that water down, correct? What happens? That water will hit the wheel will turn, but all that water comes right down. None of the water stays. The water is just basically going from one level to another level. Energy, this is what potential energy is, right? You basically are carrying that water bucket up to the 10th floor. That's why your energy, because you're carrying it, right? With the food you ate, chemical energy is transferred into potential energy. That energy then now is, as you pour it, gets transferred to the wheel starts moving, right? But the same amount of water comes right back to the floor. So it's a transportation mechanism. You see, that's why it's a transfer of electrons, and that's why, if you want to explain that, I mean, that's how I explain it. But all comes back to, right, you have to have a source of energy. And that source of energy, it can just happen by chance. It doesn't just happen, right? There's sun energy that's coming, there's a source of energy. Now, who created the sun? They're going to say, well, it came from the sun. Oh, we have solar panels, it came from the sun. Okay, then we go and ask, how did the sun come into being? Did it just come about like this, right? In a power plant, going back to what you were saying about the power plant and the lightning, what we were trying to show there is like, look, just to produce this much energy, look at the amount of effort we have to do. But look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He wants, right? But here it is, look at the amount of energy that is transferred in a split second. It's just more of a comparison to show that, look, the greatness of Allah, right? And compared to when we try to do the same harvest of energy, look, and to be honest with you, I use the word harvest, they're trying to find a way of harvesting the energy from
The lighting as well.
Exactly.
Okay. And again, I think it's really, it's become clear. So the key part here is like, we are looking for the source of the electricity, right? So what is the source of electricity? Where it comes from? That is really our essential, question, because we don't want them to look at this, oh, this is a natural phenomenon. I just, happen to be this way. So our question here is that when students after this class, if they actually start to think, oh, electricity is absolutely God-made, purposeful creation for a variety of beneficial things, then I think the mission is accomplished.
This is the first iteration. I mean, that's why these classes, they require a lot of thinking. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of work has to go behind it. And also not just the work itself, but the actual delivery is the most important part.
Yeah.
And that's why I always talk about, when I say the elephant in the room, that is the key thing, is the delivery. Because if the delivery is not right, man, you're going to lose your students.
Is the video you're showing us?
Yeah, and I also want to just mention that I want to thank Brother Harun and Brother Khalid, who were in our group, and they contributed a lot. But we decided too many people were going to spoil the program.
Can I just say something before you guys play the video? Because Avais was talking about good educators, and all throughout when everybody was presenting, I just kept thinking, like, mashallah, the whole room is filled with such talented educators, mashallah, because everyone's presentation, the delivery part and the part about, just educating and all the techniques and activities were so well done, mashallah.
So let's go and open a school together.
So this is a 70-second video, inspired, of course, by Dr. Najati. He inspired me to use AI, mashallah. And of course, everything we've learned in the last week, not just him, but the whole team. And also, inshallah, to inspire others to utilize these tools that are available, because we can reach da'wah a lot more than our classrooms. Classroom is limited to a number of students, but social media, you can reach thousands. And literally, there are millions of people who need Allah's guidance. So this kind of little thing, it does not take that much time, that you can do and inshallah share with the world and send the message to others. So just wanted to show this, inshallah. The words, we came up with it, put it through AI, and it came with a nice video, inshallah.
If a tree could talk, what would it say? You take fruits from me and cut me when you need. You depend on me for so much, but show no gratitude, indeed. Do you think I created myself or by nature or chance? But neither of the above has will, knowledge, or a personal stance. I depend on the sun, water, earth, and so much more. And everything else is dependent on the one we all adore. I remember my Creator and submit to Him in full. But you are given so much more, yet you are cruel. You and everything you depend on comes from the Sustainer. Yet you deny Him, show no gratitude, and become a complainer. Use your mind and reflect before it's too late. God gave you all the signs to find Him and move straight. Do you believe I'm speaking to you now, or is this a joke? So, how do you still think I was created from a random stroke? Just know that I will not be resurrected or answer God one day. But I worry for you knowing you face Him alone soon, and you will pay.
Mashallah, that was amazing. I was getting goosebumps. Alhamdulillah. And we say this, the quiet ones in the class who are just absorbing it, taking it in. There's an example.
Amazing, really, mashallah.
Mashallah.
But I think we will ask for more, inshallah. I think that's
we want more, yeah.
we'll ask for more, inshallah.
Okay, so mashallah, what I've learned from all of you lot is that we can always go over time, yeah? Alhamdulillah. So Tuba wanted a meeting to hash out what to do next, but she has gone into another meeting with Said Bey. So obviously that can't happen right now, and obviously everyone is exhausted. So we will have it in the morning. And also I think, Professor Najati, we haven't given them any quizzes.
Oh, I think I have one ready for you, don't worry. I have, really. I think tomorrow, I was thinking that we do the Kahoot competition tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I will have a Kahoot one for you to see how you are going to do that, inshallah. So I will go over them tonight as well, and tomorrow we can do it, inshallah, in class.
So tomorrow is basically about wrapping up any questions that you have still on any of the parts of the method. Please write them down and bring them so we can have some focused discussion, inshallah. We do want to finish by 12 tomorrow, so it's up to you. If you want your 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock free time, then, you know, yeah. Another suggestion Brother Haroon had is if we start at 8, go from 8 to 9, and then have a break for breakfast. What do you feel about that?
That was starting during the week.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm definitely going to do it for next year. That was a really good idea, alhamdulillah.
Tomorrow we should have lion.
Sunday lion on Sunday. No? What do you think?
Good.
No? Okay, fine. So, in terms of winding up today, alhamdulillah, as Ghazala said, amazing stuff, and this is what we're looking forward to. For you putting your own take on it. You know, there were some great activities, a great approach to really bring 5D to life, inshallah. So jazakallah khair, everyone. Inshallah, we will meet tomorrow. Okay? Assalamu alaikum.